We are live. That's right. What is going on, everyone? I'm just going to check everything on my end while we're waiting for some peoples to get in here. Everything is looking good on my end. Awesome. Don't see anything in the chat yet. Who's going to put the first comment in? Christian Hess with the first comment. What's going on? We are rolling. Alrighty. Get rid of this and that. DMC Coins, what's going on? Dale Tanner, hello from Alabama. You're from Alabama, not me. I am here in Tennessee. What's going on, Vaughn, man? Yes, Beaster, I keep missing the spot. Well, thank you for sticking around for years, Dale. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoy the videos. Thank you, Patrick. Alrighty, so yeah, it has been a while since I've done a live stream. I don't even know what to say. I have obviously been away for quite a while. I didn't really expect for my break to extend too much, but I just haven't really been making any videos. And I also, too, I was going to try to maybe do a detecting hunt or two, and I ended up hurting both of my wrists. Kind of, one was strained and one was kind of re-aggravating an old injury right about on a weekend I was going to go out maybe about 10 days ago. So put that on the back burner for a while. Melissa, thanks for stopping by. It's good to be here and see everyone. I mean, I'm curious to see how many people are going to show up because I haven't been on for a while. I don't know how YouTube's going to be doing with the notifications. How many people are going to see this unless you got your bell rung. So I assume everybody that's here has their notifications on for when I upload, and that's awesome. Hey, Max, William, Romeo, Dwayne's digging. Ted, Ozzy, everybody coming in. Fin Smoke. Yeah, there's people creeping in. 43 people. All right, so looks like we're going to have a bit of a turnout tonight. I have no idea how long I'm going to be here. We're going to be doing some things on the fly here. We're just going to chill tonight. I think I'm going to do a little bit of coin roll hunting, maybe. I have some rolls left I got to go through. We may get to that depending on how things go here. Curious Minds, what's going on? Wesley, Donna, Bronx Boy, Coin Nation, hey, what's going on? No problem, Max. I appreciate you stopping in. Sandra made it in. You're late. Aiden. Yeah, Coin Nation, it's been a little while. I just kind of stopped posting videos again without warning. And on RFT, everyone asked where the heck is JD? Fell off the earth. That's funny. Yeah, I kind of disappeared. I haven't really even been on YouTube much. Michelle, good to see you. I appreciate the $5 super chat. Miss you, JD. Good to see you. Stay safe. Thank you, Michelle. I really appreciate that. I'm not sure if we're going to do the stickies tonight because pretty soon this room's going to be painted and I'll be yanking all of them down. So we'll say sticky upon request tonight. We won't do it automatic. How's that sound? So if you send a super chat, if you want a sticky or not. Thank you, Neo Detectorist. Doug, William, Bill. Okay, so I will go over that. As far as this live stream is concerned in the chat, of course, there's a lot going on in the U.S. right now. So I don't mind if people passively talk about it or make some remarks, but please just know, like, outright promotion like crazy, like, you know, belittling opposite sides and constantly like promoting your candidate. Please just, I mean, I don't mind if you discuss it, but just keep it on the down low. No heightened rhetoric, please, because I don't want to have to sift through every other comment about the election tonight. I mean, like I said, you can talk about it, but if somebody, because people get very opinionated and heated when it comes to that sort of stuff. So that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, if somebody tries to take over the narrative in the chat, I'll leave it up to the discretion of any moderators that happen to be in here. Like Mudswat, what's going on? So if anybody goes too crazy, please leave the election-related comments. But if somebody goes crazy with too many comments or they're being rude, just say time them out, and then if that doesn't work, just get rid of them. Ellen said, "Hey JD, you started me in my metal detecting obsession. I love it, and I'm hooked for about 2 years now. Thank you." Well, I appreciate it. I hope you're out there finding some good stuff. Unfortunately, I haven't been lately. I'm going to try to get some detecting in. But a lot of people know by this point now, one of the reasons I slowed down a lot in the detecting was for health related reasons. And it's good for me that I took such a long break off. Since I've stopped metal detecting, other than probably about once a month right now, around in there. Apart from that, pretty much all of my issues with my neck strain headaches went away. I just had too many muscular issues. So I'm just trying to keep the detecting minimal, but it's okay because I got a lot of other stuff to do in life right now. So just haven't been doing as much detecting. And I haven't actually worn this posture corrector in a while. I'll just run through this really quick. Today is actually the first day since like probably late summer, early spring, when I changed a lot of stuff in my life. And I got kind of in really good shape. This is the first day I've kind of been like, I've been having issues with my hips, but this is the first day in a long time that I've been in like major pain. I think it's potentially from falling asleep in a position normally than I used to. It flared everything up with my muscular issues, like in and around my spine and in my neck. And I woke up with a headache this morning, and it was definitely a muscle related headache, not like, something else. But I kind of shook it off today. And my hips were in a ton of pain this morning too. Everything hurt this morning. I don't know what was with this morning, but yeah, it gets crazier here around when the time changes. It really messes me up. Still waiting for the like it's ever going to happen now with crazy things in this country. But a lot of states passed laws to get rid of daylight savings time, and there's a lot of but they are not allowed to do it without federal approval. And with everything going on in the country, they're probably never going to get to that. So here in Tennessee, we still change our clocks, which was a few days ago. And yeah, it gets dark really early, which is honestly why I started this live stream after it got dark, because I run out of motivation. Like when it gets dark at 5:30 and I'm up to like midnight, it's a drag. So any live streams I do over the winter here are probably going to be right after it gets dark. Because like during the daylight hours, I'm going to be working on stuff, working on the house, or I'll be out hiking, running to the post office, visiting my parents, doing whatever I do here locally. So thank you everyone for the happy birthday wishes. So I guess yes, today is my birthday. Some years my birthday falls on election day, I believe. Yeah. So you have to guess how old I am. I'm not going to tell everyone. Most everybody should know by now. Yes, Ted, I'm getting old. I'm getting old. Thank you. Thank you, Blue. Jason, what's going on? William. Incognito. Mason. Oh, okay, I missed a super chat. Melissa Driver, $4.99 super chat. Sticky, please. All right. I'm going to use up my funny. You can see there's two different types of stickies. When I had my AC on, when I was doing the when the last time we had the big live stream, it's funny when the vents would blow, all of the all of these type of these ones stay really flat, and all of these ones started blowing off. I had to really fight with them to get them on. You can see a couple are kind of coming down, but I'll get you a sticky, and we're going to have to start over once I get this room repainted, and I'm going to have to use the right kind of stickies that are going to stay, and then we'll work all around. So at some point here, we're going to have to start over, but this whole thing is still going to be painted yet. I've just been working on other stuff. Still gutting the basement one bit at a time. Got all the cast iron out down there. That was one of the bigger things I knew had to be done. So I was tearing out some walls in a utility room to get ready for the plumbers, and tearing out, I mean, pretty much almost probably 80% of the basement's getting gutted. So I've been tearing out a little bit here and there, and then making the upstairs a lot more comfortable. But let me get some stickies here. Okay, those are the wrong kind over there. I got to go into here. All right. Oh, yeah, I got to get this. Otherwise, that's going to make a whole lot of noise with the audio. Come on, focus on me. There we go. That's a good reference point there for focusing. And let's start out with the green tonight. Melissa Driver. $4.99er. Let's get you up there. All right. Okay, awesome. Yeah, we got some people coming in. Probably just taking a while to get the notifications out. Sandra, thank you. Fortunately, it's not my 50th birthday yet. Thank you, Garrett. Cameron, what's going on? Good to see you here. Awesome on finding a 1909 VDB. That is sweet. Epic Blades. Just break from YouTube, but I'm doing all right. Mud Swat might be doing a little coin roll hunting tonight. Oh, yeah, everybody was guessing 31, 30. A lot of people guessed 31, 34, 31 and 32, 33, 32, 34. So pretty much everybody's guessing between 31 and 34, and you were all right. I am 32. Brian said, dug an 1868 Indian head last week. Yeah, that is an awesome key date. Yeah, that's definitely a good one to dig up for sure. Even in like junk condition, that's probably about even like in really corroded and in bad shape, it'd still be like at least a $15 coin. It's pretty cool. I don't know where to start with the conversation tonight. I'm just kind of all over the place. Okay, so let's start with like why I'm here and what we're going to do tonight. So first of all, this is more going to be just a hangout. So probably not much more than chatting. I'm probably going to go through some coin rolls. I'm going to at least open 6 special rolls I had set aside from a different stream before. Maybe get to the jackpot box. We will see. No promises, but I will at least open some coin rolls. We can talk about anything tonight. We can talk about metal detecting, coin roll hunting, the election, whatever. I'm not going to go really in depth. I don't want this to be more of like a heated hangout. But yeah, we can passively talk about some of that stuff, whatever we feel, wherever the conversation goes. I'm going to open a few packages that I have here. And I guess that's about it. And I guess apart from that, anyone coming in now, if you want a sticky when you send a super chat, just let me know. I have no problem doing that. We're not going to do it automatically tonight, I guess. My email address and post office box is in the description as always if anybody needs that information. Apart from that, yes, it is my birthday today, and I wanted to, I guess, use that as a springboard, and it's been so long, I'm like, I got to post a video or do a live stream, and I figured better time to break the silence than on my birthday to get back into the groove. So here I am with not much of a plan. Oh, no problem that you can't hang out. I appreciate the birthday wishes. I didn't do a lot today. Kept it easy. I'll probably do a video soon. I'm just going to be really frank here with kind of like the honesty. I'm not sure how much treasure hunting content I'm going to get out here in the near future. I'm just kind of going one day at a time right now, seeing where my passion is at, and doing what I got to do in life right now. I'll probably put out some random videos. I still have to do a video of me metal detecting the property here. I haven't done it yet. I was saving it for the winter, like when the days are shorter and and it's colder, and I just want to poke around the house here. So I will at some point do a metal detecting video here at the house. I probably will definitely do some other ones, but for a while I may just do some random content. Who wants to see a video about my bee colony? I'm finally ready to do that. I guess I could do that. I think I would enjoy it. So today I made sure I had to do a few modifications to make sure that my bee colony is ready for winter. And then I don't really have to do anything because I'm not, they just do their own thing. So I'm pretty much done now, other than a few modifications I got to make to the setup. Yeah, so maybe look forward to a video, potentially a house update, maybe a video on my bee colony, sporadic metal detecting video here or there. I'm not doing coin roll hunting. I'm not doing a lot of sitting like I'm doing here now, and the coin roll hunting is just too laborious. And last I checked, my bank wouldn't order me coins anyway. That was a few months ago, so we'll see. Because of the whole coin shortage thing, they didn't want to order me coins. So I don't know what the deal is now. I probably can still get $50. I will have to call them and see, because I like to do something interactive while we're doing the live streams here. So I will see if I can get some more coins. But I have a box and a little bit more left, so we may get through some of that tonight. Yeah, I guess that's about it. Thank you, Melissa. No problem. I appreciate you stopping by. Have a good evening. Yes, Sandra. JD and the Killer Bee video. My colony seems pretty nice. I mean, today was the first day where I really had to do some jolting and jostling and shifting. And I'm like, I wanted to see how cranky they were going to get. And they weren't that bad. They definitely didn't attack me. So I think I have a fairly docile colony. I did know from the guy that used to live here, he doesn't know if he killed one or what happened, but he said one time he went down there and they like swarmed around him and tried attacking him. And he said every time he tried to go down there for a few months, they wouldn't even let him close. So something happened. But since I've been here, they haven't given me any trouble. Now today is the first day I actually put on my full bee suit. Because, like I said, I was going to do some things that involved jostling things around, and I did not want to be on the wrong end of cranky bees. So it went well, though. It went well today. I'll explain it in another video. I just had to redo some of the setup down there, which was a pain in the butt because they had waxed everything shut because I haven't done anything with it for a while. Coin Nation, I'm so tired. I've been putting up a fence all day. That's funny that you mentioned that. Not today, but I've been tearing a fence down, which I assume is probably a lot more fun than putting one up. So, yeah. At the farmhouse where my parents are living now, part of the fence is rotted out really bad and has been for years. And it's kind of on the end where there's not a whole lot of fence left on an area where it's more weathered and kind of getting a little bit moldy. So instead of trying to repair the fence, I decided the portion that's not important because it's more of a decorative fence, I'm going to shorten the fence and just take a pretty long strip of it out. So I've been tearing a fence down, which is really fun, especially the rotted parts, just pull out the karate moves, kick it down. And my mom is in the chat. What is going on? So my mom surprised me for my birthday this morning, and it was weird. I slept in a little bit late today, and literally 5 seconds after I got out of bed and started walking down the hallway, somebody started beating on. So that was weird timing. But thank you, Mom, for the plant you brought me today for my birthday. I really appreciate that. I'll show it to everybody here in a little bit. Yes, Brian, I detect mostly with a T2. I like it. Hey, Terry. Hey, Retro Steven, trying to catch everybody else that's just coming in here. Tim. Pam, good to see you. Did you ever get rid of that house with the major problems? Not yet. It appears I am going to sell that place and not fix it up. There's a lot of reasons for that. Not only am I really busy here, really having a good time customizing this, which I didn't expect. It's kind of a long story. And then I've had a few more problems there. So apart from cutting the grass where I updated everybody before, I think where I'm at in my life now, that project is going to be too much to tackle. So I've actually been doing a lot of this stuff because a lot of people know I bought all of the contents with the estate. I've been integrating a lot of that here. So I'll do that in a video at some time too. So it's kind of funny because like I did a lot of demo work to the house. So now it's really bare and really ugly looking. So the only way I'm going to be able to dump the property is to dump it on an investor. But the market here has been really, really, really good. It's a long story because a lot of people think the market would get worse due to COVID. But in Tennessee, it's kind of the opposite, especially in the suburbs. Real estate, there's a massive shortage. So worst case scenario, I think I'll break even on it, even dumping it after I did all the demo. At least it's kind of prepped for another person that wants to come in and fix it. I will probably do a video on that at some point here soon. But yes, it appears as if I'm going to have to try and sell that property here before winter hits. But I will update everybody on that. CoinAce said, JD, can I buy that house? Anybody who is super serious about wanting to buy that house, I'd actually give you a really good deal. Shoot me an email. If it's a serious inquiry and somebody's like, wow, I want to own JD's property, it's under 100 grand. So I'll just throw that out there. It's a pretty budget property for this area. It is on the Virginia side, where real estate's a little bit cheaper. You go over the border, it's more expensive here in Tennessee. But 1.3 acres, absolute beautiful property. It's just the house is going to need a lot of work. But the property itself is really nice, which is one of the reasons I was really attracted to it. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, my mom wants me to get rid of that house so bad. She's like, ditch the project house. Yeah, it's going to happen. All right. Ooh, had to crack the elbows. Are you going to sign your autograph to the new house when you sell it? I don't think this one's really going to matter, but I'm really, really, really I'm excited to show everybody the updates once I get things rolling here at this place. I'm doing some really cool customization. When the weather here is bad, I'm doing a lot of just cool stuff here at this place. So if I ever sell this, somebody's going to get really they're going to get a really interesting house. Let's put it that way. So I have this one idea. I'll just tell everybody, like I'm going to be just fun stuff too. Like I did a partial remodel on one of the original 1959 bathrooms here that's in remarkably good shape. I just finished that recently. And on one of the light plate covers, I'm going to glue one of the 1959 pennies I found metal detecting on the plate cover. So it kind of represents the age of when that bathroom was originally put in. But yep, been spinning all my wheels. Michelle Deniff with a $10 super chat. Sorry, my bad. Not Freddie's Mercury. Happy birthday to you. Birthday again to you. Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate that. I'm not sure if I missed another one of your comments or if you were talking to somebody else there. but I will try to catch up here a bit on the chat. William said, "Is it worth tearing down and using land for commercial?" Not in the area that the house is. I'm pretty sure that is strictly residential right there, even though it's close to a commercial area. It's good visibility for somebody who'd want to use the property. It's got, there are two pretty busy roads split actually, and it's a nice property. But no, where it's at, it wouldn't be worth tearing down. The house is definitely salvageable. But it's one of those things, if you wait a few years and don't do anything to it, some of the outside really needs attention fast. I had a problem when I wasn't going out there for a while where the gutters backed up, and on the old portion on the back of the house where the guy didn't put the metal roof, it leaked through that back room by the back door, by the deck, if anybody remembers where that is. So now I got a big leak in that back room, which I just have a tarp over where it was leaking now. And yeah, it got a little moldy, and it kind of, went through like a couple feet of the ceiling there. So that was a bummer. But it is what it is. Oh, and I appreciate you asking. My P.O. box is in the description. So you can get it down there. Let's see, because I got some nickels from my store, and I got a 1963D kind of clean, two 1966 very clean. So you can put your P.O. box, because I'm into I'm on my Skull CB. All right. Oh yeah, I gotcha. So it's yeah. I'll throw it in the chat here real quick. Oh yeah, I'll just say it out. I think I get what you're saying now. Anyway, it's just, you can just do it to JDVC P.O. Box 3252, Blountville, Tennessee 37617. And Blountville is Blountville. But if you spell it wrong, it'll still get here as long as the zip code's right. All right, Epic Blades, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Owen said, "I lost my phone for 1 week for not attending my class when coin roll hunting." Uh-oh. Yeah, it's not on like an intersection, but just it's in it like where a rural area starts and two roads split off, kind of going out further into the country. It's property, like I could actually probably sell that by putting a sign up so I don't have to pay the realtor's fees, but I don't really want to mess with that right now. But yeah, it's in a pretty good spot. I mean, I just really would have to find somebody that wants to fix it up. DiMaggio, what's going on? Appreciate the birthday wishes. CoinNation said, "Sorry, JD, can't donate anything. Had someone stealing money off my card, so I had to get a new one, but I'm seriously interested in the house." Oh, no problem. Don't worry about sending super chats. I appreciate you being here just as much. But yeah, if you're seriously interested about the house, send me an email. I'm not going to discuss any of it here. Thank you, Bobby. Population of Blountville, Brian said. Asked. It's pretty small, I think. Here, let's look at it right now. 2,813 people. I knew it was around 3,000. That is the population of Blountville. Hey, if anybody wants to, I might do it. Maybe I'll do a video on it sometime if I detect in the area. But there was a Civil War battle here right in the downtown of this small town. The Battle of Blountville, Tennessee. You should look it up. Yep, Blountville. Michael, what's going on? What's going on, Sauce? WNC. Oh, how am I metal detecting? Okay, it's just a cram in the title, but basically it's metal detecting and coin roll hunting chat. So it's like a chat about all of the hobby stuff. It's not that I'm actually metal detecting, but it's like a metal detecting and coin roll hunting chat. Cassidy Lamb with a $5 super chat. Happy birthday. You were the first YouTuber I watched when I got really into metal detecting, even before Aqua Trigger. Thanks for teaching me. I appreciate the kind words. Yeah, I'm a bit of a relic around here. My first video was posted, I think, September 9th of 2012. So I am officially 8+ years old as a YouTuber. So I've been around for quite a while. But I'm glad you've been enjoying my channel for a while. I know I haven't been getting a lot of hobby-related content out there for everyone, so I apologize for that. But I'm sure there'll be more to come in the future. Williams said, found an 1890 Indian head penny and 1912 nickel in the same spill. That is sweet. Gotta love them old coin spills. Richard said, would it be rude to ask what you do for a living? No, not at all, Richard. I've covered it in many other streams and things before, but I do a lot of different stuff. So for anybody who doesn't know, YouTube for me is just basically supplemental income. It's not my main source of income, though since I've done quite well on YouTube, I don't make a lot of money from YouTube. I mean, back in like 2016, I made actually pretty decent money from YouTube that you could actually call, somebody's, like a primary income. But for me, it's supplemental. It's not like my main full-time job or anything. And I basically, when I was young, I developed a coin and paper money business that morphed into certain niche products regarding numismatic materials, mostly like Zimbabwe banknotes, which are a fairly viral product and have been for a long time for various reasons. So I buy and sell a lot of paper money. Back in the day, it was more primarily old coins. I started collecting coins when I was like 12, and I knew a lot about them, and I was really good at cherry picking, sniping, buying bulk lots, and good at the marketing. Every aspect you could think of, from being a picker to being somebody who's really good at marketing and building my photography skills. So I've done a ton of transactions. I was a workhorse when I was younger, like on eBay. We're talking feedback, not like unique transactions. I've done, just from people that left me feedback, I have like over 11,000 feedback on eBay. I've sold on Amazon over the years too. So definitely e-commerce has been my primary source of income for a long time. And then over the years, probably starting almost 10 years ago now, is when I started to dabble into real estate with my extra money that I had saved up. I started dabbling on budget properties. Around the time I bought my first property is around the time I started the YouTube channel in 2012. So a lot of you that have been around here for a while have kind of seen a little bit, hints here and there, of the properties I've lived in and worked on over the years. Some didn't need work. There was more an investment of, it's kind of interesting, because I'm living in a place now in Tennessee where the real estate has been consistently going up over the years. And once you live in a property for like 2 years, you don't have to pay taxes if you make money off of if you make money on the sale of the house. So I have lived in a couple properties where I've made some decent money reselling the house after doing, minor repairs or redoing the interior design and then just waiting for it to appreciate. So I'm sort of a jack of all trades, master of none, but primarily since I quit my day job, which I worked retail at Dollar General. I started when I was 18. And I worked most of the time. I had that job for like 5 years, but most of the time, or at least for a couple years out of that, it was only like working like 1 or 2 days a week for like a 6-hour shift, just because I liked the interaction and the people that I worked with. But I always, since a year after I started working a day job, I've always had a business on the side. So when I quit my day job, I could have quit my day job a lot earlier than I did, but I didn't. So primarily for the last decade plus, my main profession has been an e-commerce seller focusing on numismatic materials. Then that morphed into making some money from real estate, a mix of being investor, fixing up properties, not as much, but somewhat, and then as a landlord in some instances. So I've dabbled in all areas of the real estate, from investor to fixer uppers to a landlord. So then Of course, YouTube got in the mix, and around 2015, I started making some money. Most people know I didn't start making YouTube videos for money. The first couple of years, I didn't make a penny here. I didn't even apply for AdSense until like almost 2016, and then the YouTube channel took off. So I've just gone with the flow. I've gone with the flow, and I do a little bit of everything now. I do some YouTube. I still do some selling online, but my real passion right now is tinkering around with the property that I'm living in now. I'm pretty much a pretty good sniper when it comes to real estate too. I'm all about finding the diamonds in the rough, the things that are underpriced, or the things that I know I have a vision where there's more upward potential, something that's overlooked that I know is an opportunity. So I'm property once I'm done, is going to appreciate quite nicely. Well, it's not only going to appreciate, but I'm also going to be able to build some equity into this property without doing any like major work, apart from the basement. So there, I know that was a long answer, but now anybody who didn't know is kind of filled on with what I do. I basically have 3 professions, and it's kind of cool because if I get bored of one thing, I can just focus more time on something else. When I don't want to post YouTube videos, I can work more on, online business or, the properties. If I don't want to work on properties and I just want to forget about selling stuff online, then I can just grab my camera and travel and post more YouTube videos. So it's nice having different revenue streams that I've built over the years where I can kind of go back and forth between them. So there's your answer. Let's see if I missed much here. Am I college educated? Ask Brian. No, I've always been entrepreneurial, and I always tell people unless you're somebody who is very trade specific, meaning you have to involve, you need, say like you're going to be you want to be a doctor. Well, of course, there's going to be a very set form of things that you're going to have to learn, which college is going to be a part of. So apart from people who have very specific trades that, or occupations that they want to be involved in, I personally don't recommend college outside of that. Like people saying, well, I'll go and figure out what I want to do, get some courses. I mean, I think the day and age we live in, especially with the prices of college, unless you can get a free ride to college. When I was young, I was the type of person, by the time I was like 16, 18 years old, I was already telling people that a lot of people thought I should go to college, asked me why I wasn't. And I would just tell them, I'd say that, going into debt is a pretty dumb way to start your life. And, I was very entrepreneurial, so I could never even click in my mind, well, why would I go into debt in order to make more money many, 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 many years down the road? It didn't make sense. And I did very well for myself by not going to college. I just worked really hard and rapidly built up a successful business very quickly. And if I was in college, that wouldn't have happened. So no, I don't have any college education. I talked about it a bit before. I barely graduated high school. I was homeschooled, but for the last few years of high school, I really hardly did anything, but I was always very hands-on. It's not that I wasn't learning. My education was just not conventional by any stretch of the imagination. My mom's in the chat. No college. I taught him everything he knows. You taught me some stuff, but nice try. Not everything. We know my business savvy doesn't come from my mom and my math abilities, but yes, my mom tried her best to. Probably got a lot of my English and reading skills from my mom, certainly, because that was kind of her area that she was good with. And my organizational skills. So I'll blame my OCD and my mom. How's that? Good job. Find a good property and live in it for 24 months and then being able to have it classified as your resident and then not having to pay capital gains. Exactly. And since I live alone right now, I kind of have this weird thing. Like I'm kind of settled in where I'm at now, and I don't have any intentions on moving from here. But everybody that has followed the channel knows that I moved a lot until I ended up where I'm at now. I've moved so many times as I tried to figure out kind of my path in life. But yes, many of those times, it is nice in an area where the market's appreciating. You can live in a place 2 years as long as it's your primary residence. You can forego the capital gains taxes. So if you got a property that had a good cushion where you were able to build some equity into it and it appreciates, on some properties I've definitely been with a profit after the realtor's fees. So yeah, I've made some money doing that for sure. Hopping houses. It's not for everyone. It's definitely a lot of work. But it's kind of fun sometimes if life gets dull, you move across town or something. I'm not saying you have to move 3 hours away, in your area, like a lot of the times, like I've lived 2 different places and when I lived in Knoxville, I lived like 4 different places. So I was definitely in a period where there was a lot of hopping going around. Actually 3 different places in Knoxville. So I've only ever lost money on one property, and that was in Pennsylvania because the market where I grew up in a dead town where the steel mills left, and it was depressed and getting worse and still getting worse. Like I look back at the hometown where I grew up, and it is getting worse every year. The utility companies have a monopoly. They had problems. They had to pass a law making everyone in the town update their sewer lines, and they were working on it for like almost a decade. I mean, the town I grew up in is like a nightmare in a lot of ways. But not only did I have a property that I had issues with some renters and a bad chain reaction of events, and the house got flooded. The real estate never went up in price, like even over the span of many years. And it was just, I had one situation that just kind of went from bad to worse. But even then, I didn't lose a lot of money. I mean, we're talking, I can't remember. Once it was all said and done, let's just say I lost the equity that I put into the house, but I probably lost like, I don't know, like $3,000 or something. It wasn't a huge loss, but it was a headache. The peace of mind and all the headache that I had to face in life was where you have the real loss. Money comes, money goes. Sheila with the $20 super chat. Happy birthday, JD. Can't stay long. Have to work. No problem, Sheila. I really appreciate you stopping by. It's good to see you here. All right, let's get on to another talk. I kind of went off on a rabbit trail there. Thank you, Amy. All right, let's see what's going on in the chat here. William said, I have PhD, but it took a lot of work, and if you don't use it, it's better. It's better you go for it at all. LOL. Yeah, it's one of those things. Some people get college education and then they never end up using it. Some people are very successful with it, but that's kind of my advice. I noticed over the years, it seems like if you're going for a very trade-specific reason, like if you're passionate about something and want to be in a specific field for most or all of your life, then college can be very beneficial. But I think if you're going to just go to college and take all kinds of goofy classes and things that are out there, I'm not going to go into political narratives right now, but there's a lot of useless information that you pay a lot of money for in college. And also, unfortunately, there's a lot of people that go to certain colleges that come out dumber than they went in, just being honest. So college comes down to one of those things. It's like, where are you going? Why are you going? How much does it cost? Etc. There's so many questions there. And for me, it made absolutely no sense. Do I have my awesome looking, colorful stuffed dog? I do. I think, yeah, he is in the spare room at my parents' place because I have a spare bedroom and I left there upstairs. He's up there. Still have him though. What is my favorite fast food? It's a good question. I don't eat a lot of fast food, but I can tell you probably what it is. I like Hardee's burgers, especially mushroom Swiss. So I would say my favorite fast food is probably a Hardee's 3rd pound thick burger with an extra patty, so 2/3 pounds of meat, cheese. Do they use mushroom Swiss? So the Swiss cheese, and then the mushroom sauce. That's good stuff. And always lettuce on the side. Lettuce on the side. Give it that little fresh crunch with it. Because if you put it on it, it gets kind of sloppy and messy and soggy. But 2/3 pounds of meat, cheese, mushroom sauce, and lettuce on the side from Hardee's. That is a good burger. Definitely, once in a while, if I'm going to get fast food, I'm going to get something like that. College was awesome. Great pastry program. See, that would never work for me. Like if I ever worked as like at a bakery or, anything that had to do with like food like that, I would just eat it all. I would eat it. I would be huge too. You wouldn't be seeing thin JD right now. I couldn't imagine working someplace where you wanted to eat everything all the time, because I like food. Which metal detector do you like more than the Garrett AT Pro or the Max? I mean, I like the Technetics T2. Everybody knows that's my favorite multi-purpose detector, but also the XP Deus. I would say right now, those are kind of my top two. As far as detectors, I would recommend that I like for the type of metal detecting I do. I would say XP Deus, Technetics T2, good detectors. Coin Nation, I know you were asking about detectors before. I apologize for not getting back to you on that because I haven't organized all of my extra equipment yet. I did have a Garrett Ace 400, but I sold it very early. No, wait, it was a while ago. I sold it last year, I believe it was, or maybe even longer than that ago. But I did have a Garrett Ace 400. I'm sorry I don't have it to sell you, but I did have an Ace 400 I used for a while that I sold. So sorry about that, but I will get back to you when I go through my stuff, because I might get rid of one or two detectors. I have quite a collection of them. William said, have I ever panned for gold? No, but I'm glad you mentioned that, because I have to open some packages, and then I'm going to tell you all a story here soon. Wow, that focused out on me. Focus. There we go. All right. So I want to make sure I can't show this label on here. But one of my viewers sent me this. Can you see the shape there? I know what it is. So let's open it here, see if there's a note inside. Let's see. How am I going to open this? I have to grab my scissors here. Yeah, that's not going to work. JD, as promised, here is a gold pand. I hope you find the opportunity to go prospecting sometime. Gold luck, that's a good play on words. Gold luck and God bless. Thomas Michael, Tom's Gold Dirt on YouTube, and tomsgolddirt.com. So thank you, Thomas, Tom. I really appreciate you sending this. I don't think Tom is here right now. I haven't seen him in the chat. So hopefully he watches this back sometime. But I can show you the note here. That way, if anybody wants to check out and subscribe to his YouTube channel or check out his website, you can do that. I want to make sure I recognize him. So there's the information there if you want to search him on YouTube. Tom's Gold Dirt on YouTube. Looks like it's all one word, which I think it is, because I remember him being Tom being in the chat many times before. So thank you, Tom. I appreciate the gold pan, and when I get out, I will definitely give it a go. Awesome. Thank you. All right. Richard Myers with a $50 super chat. Happy birthday. I appreciate that, Richard. Thank you very much for the super chat. You didn't have to, but thank you very much. Terry said, I do a lot of mud larking here on the River Thames. I used to call it the River Thames. Somebody corrected me. The River, or the River Thames, or Thames, people tell me now. Was it the River Thames? You'll have to let me know in the chat. The pronunciation. Had a lot of good finds recently. That's awesome. I've always wanted to do that. I wish there were areas here where you could find things that old that just are on the surface, essentially, or very close to the surface. Thank you, KMR Coin. I appreciate it. All right. Let's see. I got a couple other things to go through here. I'm going to checking out the chat here for a minute. I'm going to have to get some pay dirt. Who wants to see a pay dirt video? Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll practice. All right. Sandra said, charge JD rent for that Scooby, or charge Scooby rent for having the JD suite. I put Owen in timeout. If there's too many comments, I'll just delete them next time. So if you're hearing me, Owen, just slow down on the chat a little bit. I just timed you out for a little bit. I can't remember to change the name. Article 4, Section 4. Is that you, Luke? I can't remember. So many YouTube channel names change. I can't keep up with it all the time. Hey, Matt, what's going on? I thought that was you, Luke, but I honestly couldn't remember because I know you changed your channel name. All right. So we could talk about the election for a little bit if we want. Maybe I'll do that a little bit later, but let's continue with the package, the opening stuff for now. Let's do that, and then we'll put some ideas in the comments what you all would like to talk about, because I'll be running out of stuff here shortly. All right. Okay, so what I'm opening now, I apologize. Okay, so I put this on here so I didn't. When everything got moved around, when I moved, I remembered where I was waiting for Samuel to be in the chat a while ago. So what Samuel sent me got misplaced, and I didn't get to open it on one of my live streams around the time he sent it. And I found it when I was going through everything before the time that I moved to where I'm at now. So Samuel, if you're watching this video, I really, 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 truly apologize for getting to this package super late. I do apologize for that. I am back on track now. For anybody who sends a card or anything to my P.O. box, I'm up to date as far as opening things on the next live stream after I receive anything from my viewers. So even if you send me a card, anything you send me, everything is getting retrieved from my P.O. box fairly quickly for me to look at. And if anybody sends me something they want showed on the live stream, I'm more than happy to do that. But usually the stuff that I get, is just like a card, saying, hey, it's not something that I have to show on the live stream. So for anybody who does anything to my P.O. box, know that I will get it, and I appreciate it very much. And just specify if you send me something, if you want me to open it on the live stream, and also specify, like, if you have a note in there, if you want me to read the note out loud or if you want to keep it personal. Of course, I'm not able to get this open. Very cool. It's definitely aluminum. Check this out. Let's see if we can get this to focus. Carnival Association of Long Beach, Mississippi. That's really cool. 25th anniversary. King Scott XXV with 25 in Roman numerals. That's really cool. I appreciate that, Samuel. And I think this, if I remember correctly, was the main part of what he was sending. But let's not spoil the surprise. I can definitely say Samuel is good in the packaging department. Oh, I remember now. Okay. No, this is what Samuel sent. The other package that wasn't marked wasn't from him. That's really awesome, that token. I like that. Oh my goodness. I forgot. This is something I ordered on eBay a long time ago, and I didn't open it, and it smells really bad. It's going to have to get thrown out. I bought this. It was kind of a joke. I was going to make a video out of this because it's an antique thing. Okay. These have been in there way too long. Okay, this is not a joke. Okay? Oh my gosh, this smells awful though. They have been in there so long. Okay? I can't remember when these are from. I don't know if they got worse since I've had them. This isn't a joke. This is serious. You taking that in? I can smell it through the package. It's so bad. They've been in there for so long. This is not a joke. That is one of those crazy products I found on eBay. Come on, focus on me. It is literally chocolate-covered ants, caterpillars, baby bees, and grasshoppers. And I don't know if that was like that when I bought it, but that smells horrible. No, if I ate one, that would be like death. What I was going to do was, because they're vintage, I was going to cut one open, like cut them open, but now I don't even know if I want to do that. We're not doing it on the live stream here. I think we're probably going to scrap that video idea. The smell is just unbelievable. At least the plastic was holding that smell in. Maybe from not having air getting to them, maybe it made it worse. That is something else. Unbelievable. Becca, what's going on? Good to see you. Put it outside and attract cats. I have enough problems with neighborhood cats actually where I live now. There was a lot of cats in this neighborhood. A lot of cats. I know, Wanda. Isn't that crazy? Like I said, this isn't like, if this was a product that was being sold right now, I wouldn't have bought it because I don't want to support that type of thing. I'm not into that. But, you know, it's like a vintage product and it like really had me intrigued. But yeah, yeah. Who wants to eat baby bees? I don't know who had that idea when that product came out. I can't remember how old that is. It's pretty old. I think it's from like the 70s or something. Man, I can't even explain that smell. It's just bad. I don't know how I would describe it. It's its own unique bad smell. Oh, that's funny though. That was funny to do in the live stream. I completely forgot what that was because I took it out of the original packaging, left it in that bubble wrap. I thought it was something YouTube, like somebody from the YouTube channel like sent me, like a viewer, and it wasn't. I remember I ordered that on eBay, like I think toward the middle or end of 2018. It's been in that package for a long time. So I don't know if it smelled like that when I got it, but boy, that's something else. Brian, I may, out of curiosity, like afterward, I can't really do it now with this setup, but maybe I'll take a clip with my camera if it's interesting, tack it on the end of one of my videos. But that smells terrible. That was crazy. That's funny. It's not every day you get a surprise like that. You forgot you bought something 2 years ago. I've had that for a while. But yeah, a lot of stuff got misplaced when I was moving. I had to spend a lot of time reorganizing my life. And I did that over the summer here when I wasn't out digging in the 90-degree heat and humidity. Isaiah, there's your shout out. Yes, Becca, it's definitely rancid. Certainly. Yes, Jason, it is my birthday today. Maybe right before I turn off the stream, I'll open one up just in case it's really bad. I don't want to do it now. I had to wrap it back up in that plastic. That's going to go right in the trash later. That is just something else. No, that's not one of those things we're going to be trying to eat for somebody sending a super chat. This isn't going to be one of those Torment JD episodes or live streams. Sandra says, I would like a census on the fact, is turkey necessary for Thanksgiving? No, it's not, Sandra, but why not? Mr. Sadie, yeah, just return an eBay will back you. Can you tell I sell on eBay? Yeah. Now, if I would have opened it right when I got it and it smelled that bad, I would have sent it back or opened a claim, because you shouldn't be shipping people stuff that can actually be a health hazard. Like, I understand if it didn't have an odor, but that has a very potent odor. But of course, being in the package for 2 years, I don't know if that occurred after they shipped it to me or if it was like that. But that was bad. I can't imagine somebody listing that on eBay that with that odor. That's the worst package smell that's the worst smell I've ever smelled opening a package. I mean, that was something else. Hey, Beverly, what's going on? Bobby said, what's your favorite pinpointer? My favorite pinpointer is the Nokta RS. That's my favorite pinpointer. The Nokta that has the orange back, or the orange butt, I should say. I remember the hot pickle, says Williams. Williams, listen to me. Okay, Brian. I appreciate the happy birthday. Yeah, I'm not sure how long we'll be here, so if you stop back in, I might be here. Who knows how long we'll go tonight. Alrighty. I was going to do a separate video on this. Maybe I should. Should I do it on the live stream? I don't know. I've got a little bit of a funny story here. I mean, I've sold a lot of stuff over the years, and once in a while you get a very interesting story that occurs. Yeah, let's just do it here on the live stream. Oh, why not? Okay, so I'm gonna tell you're all gonna get a story here. So, around the time that Hurricane was it Hurricane Laura? Yes, it's been a lot of hurricanes down there in the Gulf. When Hurricane Laura hit, somebody had ordered something from me that I was shipping to. I have it crossed out here, but I believe it. I believe it was in Lake Arthur. And I never ship anything down there. It was really weird, and it was like a few days before the hurricane hit, and so if I would have sent this airmail, there probably wouldn't have been a problem, but it ended up going UPS ground. So as UPS was making their way down toward the time the hurricane was just really picking up a lot of steam, of course, everybody knows that was a pretty bad hurricane, and it did a lot of damage in Lake Charles and in the surrounding area. Lake Arthur is very close to Lake Charles down there. So after my package made it to the Lake Arthur distribution center for UPS, the main hub, everybody shut down and everybody left. So yes, my package was in the facility that got hit by the hurricane. I don't know how much damage they incurred, but of course the tracking just went dead. It went dead. Nothing ever happened. Once it got there, everybody said, see ya, and my package was left to fend through itself through a hurricane. So to make a long story short, I don't know how bad the hurricane damage was. I don't know if the roof just got partially ripped off and the whole UPS facility got waterlogged and all of the packages got damaged. I don't know if they blew halfway through the town and they had to try to collect as many as they could when they could get back down in the area. I can't tell you exactly what happened. All I can tell you is that what's going on, Rob? We'll get to that in a second. All I can tell you is they found my package. Where they found it, I can't tell you. I don't know if it was blown out of this facility or if it was like in a river of wet packages in the facility. But here is the package that came back looking like it was through World War III. And let me point out also, and this is a tip for anybody that sells online that sends out their own labels, and I've been doing this for years, even though like the post office tells you you're never supposed to tape over the barcode. If you make sure there's no wrinkles, taping your labels on, if you don't use the sticky ones, you should, even if you handwrite out your labels for packages, you should always tape over it because then it can't fade, it can't get water damaged. That's what happens a lot of time in the post office. A lot of chaotic things happen. Your package gets wet and it wipes all the information off. So the only reason a lot of this still looks legible is because I taped over it. So you can see where I didn't tape is just grime and nastiness. It looks like this package has been through a war zone and it was obviously wet for a long time. I mean, it is warped beyond imagination. So I just think it's funny. Discovery. So, like I said, was this half a mile down the road? did the hurricane blow this? Did this place get completely demolished in the hurricane? I don't know, but from the time they found my package from the facility being damaged, it looks like the hurricane sucked this thing up and threw it halfway across town. So they brought it back to my local UPS, and I had to drive like 25 minutes to a facility I'd never been before to pick it up. And the lady goes to get my package and she brings it out and she's just kind of looking at it. And I said, yeah, did you look at the address? I said, this was literally in Hurricane Laura. And she looks at it and she goes, I am so sorry about that. And I told her, you don't have to be sorry. So I'm going to open it up. I can tell you what it is. I mean, it's a Zimbabwe banknote, one of the 100 trillion notes. Here's one thing. I send everything in just like a plastic, just like little plastic bags folded over in a piece of cardboard. It's not going to be uncirculated anymore. So yes, this package was discovered somewhere during your UPS's recovery process of, well, obviously not show the personal information of who I sent it to. So I put them in these, I cut them up in these cardboard things and put them in. This thing has been wet, like the whole way through. So, I mean, like this is, I mean, I don't like when this was, it was, the package was still, I think what they did at UPS is when they recovered all of these waterlogged packages, they probably just took big industrial fans and tried to clear it all out. Because when I got this package, it was still it was damp. It wasn't even completely dry when they shipped it back to me. They probably did their best trying to dry them out. But beyond all odds, it made it back. And like I said, I think the tape that I used over the labels is what saved it. Otherwise, it would have been unidentifiable unless they found the package, opened it, and saw the return address information and all of that stuff. So that was my story of the package that went through Hurricane Laura. And let me get to this real quick. Rob sent a $55 super chat. OMG, no notifications, and I'm late. Happy birthday, JD's Variety Channel. I really appreciate that, Rob. I think there was an issue with notifications. I don't know if it's just because I haven't uploaded in a long time, but not a lot of people found this live stream. But I appreciate the super chat, Rob, as always. So since I had this in plastic, it's really not in bad shape. It's no longer... Actually, there's a little bit of moisture. Is that on the outside? Okay. Yeah, there's water damage. There's moisture on the outside of the bag. Yeah, it's on the outside, so it's not uncirculated anymore. But you can see, I don't know if you can see it from the side. It's kind of wavy. It's kind of wavy. So you definitely can't call it uncirculated anymore. But anyway, that is the tale of $100 trillion that went through a hurricane and made his way back home. And I obviously shipped the person that bought it from me a replacement because they obviously didn't get their package. So I hope everybody enjoyed that story of my package that got abandoned in the Lake Arthur UPS facility during the hurricane. Mindspot said found by ocean cleanup. I mean, it honestly wouldn't surprise me. I mean, literally, I got that package back. The return process was really slow and there was a hiccup because I made a mistake too. I hardly send anything UPS. On average, if I tallied it all up, I maybe only send one thing per UPS a week. And I used my return address as a PO box, and they can't return to PO boxes because that's through USPS. So it delayed it even longer. But it came back like weeks. No, it was almost, it came back like 3 weeks or a month after I mailed it. and it was damp when I got it back. It was crazy. So that's the story of that package. Those notes are worth about $80 in uncirculated condition right now, around in there, give or take. They're worth about $80, and there's not much of a difference between uncirculated and circulated condition. They kind of all sell for around the same price. So I didn't really lose any money because it made it back, but I just thought it was really funny. Yes, Mud Swat, it's a very they're very rare. They used to be quite cheap, but yes, right now they sell for about $80 pretty consistently on eBay and Amazon. Amazon, they sell for closer to 100. On eBay, they're like 80-ish. So yeah, that's nice to get my $80 back. You would be surprised what washes up on beaches. Yeah, I would assume after a hurricane too. Can you imagine what was washing up on the beaches after that tsunami in Japan? I always wondered. I've heard of like refrigerators and stuff in the ocean. So like, who knows? Who knows, right? Becca said, "Now go wash your hands and get rid of that mold magnet." Surprisingly, they found it fairly quick. So there wasn't any visible mold on it. But I mean, that's pretty. Thankfully, they at least a pretty good, decent job of trying to dry the packages out that they found. But yeah, it's pretty. I mean, there's like this weird, like greenish brown colored sludge. Like this thing was. I mean, that was in some gnarly grime, that's for sure. That was in some really wet mud and who knows what else. That's what said iron it. It is kind of funny if you have wavy banknotes that are uncirculated, but they got kind of they had a bend to them. Now I say not like bent, like it had a crease, but if it just has a bend to it, sometimes you can put banknotes like that in a rigid sleeve and it will straighten them out. But that one actually has, actual waves from the moisture where it's kind of like it's no longer uncirculated. Let's put it that way. It might look uncirculated if I put it in a really rigid case, but you don't want to try to trick anyone. That wouldn't be nice. Can you do a coin roll, says Retro Steven. Yeah, okay, let's do that. Let's open some coin rolls. Let's see. All right. I'm going to grab a couple coin rolls. We'll go through a few, and I'll tell you where they're from, and then we'll see if we get any further in the box. Like I said, today was one of those random days, of course, on my birthday of all days, where I had a flare-up in some of my muscles, so I don't know how long I'm going to sit here and make this live stream go. I'll at least stretch from time to time here, but I'll show you what we're going to do here in a second. We'll open some rolls for everyone. Oh, I need to stretch anyway. I was sitting there for an hour and 15 minutes. All right. Here's what we're going to go through first here. Sheila sent a $20 super chat. Got to clock in, but have a great night. Thank you, Sheila, so much. I appreciate you stopping by in the super chats. I hope you have a great night at work. It was good to see you stop by. All right. Redskin 4040 says, "Can I buy that note from you?" Yeah, send me an email. Look for my email in the description. I sell them all the time. So if you want to buy something from me, that's fine. I sell all the denominations of the Zimbabwe notes. So yeah, if you send me an email, we can figure something out. So a long time ago, one of my jackpot boxes that had a lot of uncirculated half dollars in it, I saved some of these rolls. And now I'm not saving them anymore. So this is from a box I did about a year and a half ago where, well, you can see one here. It had a lot of uncirculated half dollars from like the 70s and stuff in it. And that's like an ender there. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be, these rolls were loaded, not with silver, but with high quality like uncirculated earlier half dollars. So we're going to open them, see what's in these ones today. Now, I did find some silver in that box. I think I found like 2 silvers, like a 90 and a 40%er. So there could be silver in these rolls, certainly. But that box wasn't hot on the silver, even though I did find a little bit. So yeah, let's open a couple of them now. Yeah, Linda, it is kind of cool. It has some provenance now going through the hurricane. I can say that I have $100 trillion that literally survived a hurricane. Let me back this up off the screen here a little bit. Yeah, so you can already see here, if I get it to catch the light the right way, these rolls have uncirculated half dollars in them. So these rolls are no different than the other ones, as I expected. There should be, I think there was like almost, if I average out, I think there was at least like 2 in every roll if I averaged it out. Some had more, some had less. So we'll go through them real quick. And not all of them were new ones. So here's an uncirculated, well, I'm saying uncirculated, but I mean, just really not all of them are going to be perfect uncirculated, but there's a 2001. I think there was a lot of those too. But the ones we're looking for, I think were mostly from the 70s. So there was only one in that roll. I'll just set them down here for now. Now let's set them up here. Thank you, Billy Jack Silver Stack. Happy birthday, JD. My daughter's day is the 10th. Awesome. Yeah, you can see right here. It looks like there's 2 already in this roll. One thicker, older one, and one thinner, newer half dollar. So I think this is going to be one of those loaded rolls with the uncirculated ones. Some of these were uncirculated. Some were near uncirculated. There's one more toward the bottom. So the first one's another one of those 2001s. That was one of the dates that there was a lot of in there. The next one was a high-end 1982, but not a ton of luster on that one. Let's check the other one. The other one's actually an NIFC. You can tell how this was definitely a hot box. 2009. Super shiny edge on that. This was another date I remember that there was a lot of, an uncirculated 1990. Kind of a little bit of a weak strike on that one. Has a couple hairline scratches on it. But yeah, that box was just loaded with, somebody dumped a lot of high-end half dollars. Must have been from some kind of collection. Like, see, like these, I'm not looking through every one. Like, these aren't dates that you see all the time. There's like a 1985D with a lot of luster. So, I mean, obviously, wherever these came from, it was some sort of collection dump. A lot of AU coins and stuff, too, that aren't fully uncirculated. So, at some point, somebody had sorted through them, and they were part of, like, a coin collector's stash or something. And you can see from that source, remember when I used to find all of these with the black spot on them in my area? I don't find them as much anymore, but this was back around the time I was finding a lot of silver in my area. And this roll is loaded. See, there's a lot of those 1985Ds that are just have a ton of luster on them. And they don't all look super shiny by the edge, so I actually have to check back through that other roll. Make sure I didn't miss any. I'll do that later, but let's finish going through these here while it's still early yet. While we got 73 people in here. Yeah, look at it. I mean, I'll get it to catch the light. You'll be able to see it from there. I mean, look at that. Certainly uncirculated. That one's a 1995. I think that was, yeah, I'm remembering all the dates now. Yeah, I mean, this one's loaded. $1982, uncirculated. Really nice 1983. I'll check these later to see which ones are worth keeping. Another near perfect 2001. Yeah, this is loaded. Another 1995. I remember there was like 6 dates that were all the same. There was like 1982s, 85s, and 86s. I think 1972s, and then the 1990s, the 95s, and like the 2001s. I think those were the main dates. I mean, that's kind of like an AU 71. But yeah, there was like 6 specific dates where there was a lot of the same ones. And there was a lot of those dates you don't see a lot of in the 80s, like 86s and all that kind of stuff. Let's see if I missed any here. And just so many of them were borderline, like AU, like they had luster but weren't worth keeping for the common ones. So we'll go to the next roll. And I saved one of them that has an insanely stunning ender on it. That's definitely a uncirculated. That one might be an NIFC. We'll save that one for last. Yeah, Rob, I'll check all of them. I don't. This wasn't a source where I was finding the ones with the no FG. I should have checked every single one of them, but I don't know if you were here when it happened. But I actually had what I think was a collection dump of no FGs. I found I think 4 different no FGs in one box. And I forgot like super rare ones that didn't have no FG, and I didn't end up going back for the bag before they got taken back to the bank. But I will check all these. But I know in this source I had not found any no FGs. I did check all of them when I went through these the first time. So uncirculated 1994. This one had a nice one on the ender. I forgot too. Man, if it didn't have a couple hairlines, that's one of the most best 1995s I've seen, but unfortunately it's got a couple hairlines that are bigger than I would want. But yeah, that was weird. I actually got a collection dump of no FGs once. I mean, that was bizarre. Who knows? That could have been a mistake. Like a coin roll hunter could have accidentally thrown them back in, like looking at it like, oh, why did I keep this circulated $50? Maybe forgetting it was in their error pile or something. That's the only thing I can think of. Because I think that box didn't have any silver or anything, but it had like 4 no FG coins. And I think there were like, yeah, they were different dates too. And like, yeah, it was bizarre. But I was also checking this box because there was a lot of AU and uncirculated 74Ds. Unfortunately, none of them were the DDO, but I was setting them aside just in case, because if I would have got a 74 DDO that was uncirculated or near uncirculated, those are pretty nice coins. That's weird. One 72D that looks polished. It's kind of weird. Like I said, this was a really weird batch, but there was obviously a ton of high-end coins that you normally don't see. So was that a silver one I saved? I know I had a silver ender over there too. I don't think that was it. So let's open this one that has an uncirculated ender. It looks like a newer one. That's probably one of the 90s coins or NIFCs. Enchanted Apples, can you please tell me a good beginner's detector? A lot of good beginner detectors out there. I like the Fisher F22 and F44. Some of the budget Garrett detectors are pretty good. I really like for the best performance on the low end detectors that are around like $200. If you go cheaper than $200, the detectors get a little finicky. I don't recommend them. But if you could get a Fisher F22, a Fisher F4, or a Fisher F44 for in and around the going rate on them, they're pretty good detectors. And in the $200 price range. So here's that ender was a 2008 NIFC. That is stunning. Couple tiny little marks on it, but I mean, that thing is just about as fresh as you get. And it does look like there's going to be a couple more in here. Another one of those 95s. Can't keep them all. I'll go through them later. I don't think that one was quite as nice. I'll go through them one at a time just to make sure I don't miss anything really good. I'm going to check through the pile later to make sure I don't miss anything good. See, here's this is what there was a lot of in that box. Here's like a slightly gold toned. We'll get it. So the lighting's not perfect in here. There's like a gold toned uncirculated bicentennial. Not sure if you can kind of see it there on camera. Definitely gold toned. The uncirculated coins from the uncirculated bicentennials in like the 1972s in this box, they all had a slight gold tone to them. So they were stored for a very long time. Another uncirculated 1995. There's a 74D, but it's not uncirculated. I'll check it later. Hunter, what's going on? Yeah, that's a really nice uncirculated one on the end of this. That looks like one of the 70s ones or 80s ones too. It looks pretty thick. William said Rob scored a Benji dump last night on his stream. Oh man, I wish I was there. That sounds awesome. How many did you get? Oh man, this is going to be a nice one. There's a, like I said, there's the gold toned uncirculated 1978. Well, I won't bother getting it to focus there. And then the one on the end, this is going to be, there it is, gold toned, really nice gold on it. Gold toned 1979. Definitely doesn't look as good on the camera, but I mean, that thing is definitely gold toned. Very gold. There's another 74D. There was a lot of 74Ds in that box, if I remember correctly. Some of them in really nice grades. See, like here's a lot of the borderline ones. Like you don't see these every time you open a roll. 71D. You know, in that condition with luster. Like I said, there was a lot of AU coins in here too that I wouldn't call fully unk. And there's a, there's a high-end 1989D. So yeah, these rolls were loaded. Another black spot. I don't really find these hardly ever anymore. The one that had the black spot on the 9 and the date, but I saved these from that source when I was finding a lot of goodies. And so now we're getting to that ender. It was one of the best enders I'd seen in a long time as far as uncirculated coins. 1998. There's almost no flaws on that, except unfortunately that little bit of those couple scuffs right on the bottom of the neck there. If it didn't have those, that thing would be almost perfect. It's always the ones that are almost perfect. They just have a couple nicks or something that keep them from being flawless. Still a really nice coin though. Oh, I'm going to get a drink. All right, so that was a little bit of coin roll hunting. The Cherry Picker's Guide. Yeah, the Cherry Picker's Guide is a good one. It definitely is. But in the Bosch and Loam 20 times magnification. Yeah, that sounds like a good mix right there. Jay Chestnut, appreciate the birthday wishes. Rob said it was Colsing 2 Benji enders. That's awesome. Now, my brain went wild there for a second. When you said 2 Benji enders, I was thinking one roll Benji on each end. And I'm like, how many did you find? I'm like, oh, 2 enders throughout. I get it, the whole box. That sounds awesome. Josh said, where are you located? I'm in Tennessee, Josh. It was funny. So Yeah. Well, hey, since you're here, Rob, you'll think this is funny. So, when I randomly sometimes post comments on other random YouTube videos, like if a comment gets like a lot of traction or something, like it's kind of funny how the YouTube community is. Like once in a while, somebody will recognize you. So I had a comment that was like, for lack of better terms, like a viral comment on one of the election fraud Project Veritas videos that was just released last night, and like 4,000 people like liked the comment. And it was funny. There was two people in the comments. One of them was like, "Hey, you're that guy I see on Rob's RFT streams." So it's funny. That's not the first time I've commented on a random YouTube video that has nothing to do with coin roll hunting or metal detecting, and somebody will post a comment like, "Hey, you're that guy from." I mean, I've had people recognize me, but then there's some people that say, "Hey, you're JD. You're that guy that's from. I see you on Rob's streams all the time." It's pretty funny. So somebody posted last night on one of my comments that he saw me on your stream. I'm trying to keep on the chat here. I'm just taking a break for a minute. I'm just looking at some stuff on here. I'm probably not going to stay too much longer. William, it's definitely not YouTube fame. Here's the funny thing, and I figured this out. Don't know exactly how it works, but if you don't know this, now you know. I've figured something out. I don't know when this started, but for some reason, verified YouTube channels actually get more. They get a higher placement through the algorithm when you first originally post a comment. So since I have a verified YouTube channel, your comments have a higher chance of staying at the top of the list for like an extended period of time. So what happens is, so if people like your comment, then when people like, the more people consistently click like, there's like a time decay algorithm. So when a lot of people like your comment, it can like permanently move it more toward the top end of that video. So I noticed something really weird. Since I have a verified YouTube channel, a lot of my comments end up at the top of the videos that I comment on. And it's not like I'm the most unique commenter, or I say the funniest thing or the most important thing, or whatever the topic is, or whatever the nuance is there. But for some reason, I did notice that having a verified count actually gives you an advantage on people reading your comments on YouTube. It's pretty strange. So it's not uncommon if I comment on like a video that goes viral, that my comment like gets a ton of, actually get, from what I've been able to tell, probably like a significant, like 2 to 3 times advantage over just anyone commenting that's not verified, which is 99% plus of all of the people on YouTube. So it's kind of weird. Arigato, Mr. Roboto. Good to see you. Dang, you've been streaming for a while now. Hope you are well. Happy birthday. Appreciate it. Yes, I have been streaming for a little while, but I haven't been on YouTube for quite a while as far as content is concerned. Thank you, Paula. Sandra said JD's going to split soon to investigate the candy. I don't know about that. It's definitely going in the trash. And like, not just my trash. That is going outside my house tonight. Rob said, LOL, they see you on my streams. More like I'm lucky they have you come by to my streams. No, Rob, a lot of people make it through your streams. I don't think you realize how many people are in and out of your streams, even if they're not loyal viewers like all the time, like on every single one. You've got quite the setup there on your live streams. Yeah, Becca, it's something like that. Well, also, I think... Well, I don't know. I think it very loosely ties into this whole weird thing they got going on with like content of how they how they promote or not promote content is very bizarre. And then of course there's the whole censor what they don't censor, why, what's considered. I mean, it's weird. Isn't it weird how did everybody notice how a lot of mainstream media went from the term fake news for years, and then everybody got like tired of hearing it. It was like everybody was tired of hearing about it, and then they came up with this really crafty word that sounded a little that sounded rational, and they started calling stuff disinformation. And man, is that dangerous. Once you start claiming that something's disinformation and then just scrubbing it from the internet. I've always thought about that stuff for a long time. To me, it's very insulting to the general population, because basically what you're saying is, oh, this information is false, therefore we have to pull it because the general populace is too stupid to know what's good for them. I think it's pretty demoralizing to tell somebody that they have to censor information that may not be correct because basically the general populace is too dumb to know. And honestly, a lot of people don't fact check, but that's their problem. If you don't fact check, them hiding false information isn't going to make you a better researcher or somebody that cares about sources. It just means you don't see that one piece. So so somebody tells you something locally that's wrong and you believe them. Like, you can't keep people from false information. I mean, it's all around us. So even if they do label certain things properly as disinformation, you're still trying to weed out stuff that really has no purpose being removed. Like, it makes no sense in a logical approach, but of course they have a certain ideological bend. So to them, it doesn't fit their ideological bend. And I guess they think that they're doing the world some sort of justice and great good by being the arbiters of information, and they are just helping everybody out, and they are just so they care about everyone so much. Yeah. If only that were true. Yes, it's been a while. I am back. Yes, a little bit of rant there. See, I actually don't have a problem with censorship as long as it's clearly stated not in very vague language. If it's stated this, and this is not permitted, and people can do what they want. But when you come up with words like disinformation, you basically get to see, that's the key. It's coming up with vague language that they get to interpret. So when you have vague language, nobody, I mean, under that pretense, they could delete anything they wanted at any time. So if I stated a historical fact, but somehow the Wikipedia page, it doesn't line up with, because Wikipedia is definitely not the most reliable source in the world. Like, say I say something that's fact, but history sort of, like, that's when you get starting into like historical revisionism. Like, once they can start revising history, basically, oh, well, that's disinformation. And if it's technically true and they can't get you on disinformation, they could say that your facts are hateful based on something that happened in the past. So if they can get you for disinformation or something call something hateful for, like, that's historically accurate, then, or like scientifically accurate, then you really can't say anything that's not potentially under the line of fire. It just becomes my morality versus your morality. It's interesting stuff, but to be expected. Oh, let's see. Yeah, the age restriction on YouTube is a little bit hanging my deer stand. Yeah, they probably kind of, I don't know, that probably got lumped into some kind of hunting category, maybe, where like they maybe age restrict some of that stuff. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Or it could have just been a weird thing, like hanging my deer stand. Like they could have flagged the word hanging in your circumstance just because you accidentally used the wrong word that can mean other nefarious things. Oh yeah, there's some fishy. It's like with Wikipedia being open source, there's some fishy stuff on Wikipedia, especially people that write art, like try to help out on the articles and people they don't like. Yeah, Wikipedia definitely has a bias within a lot of their articles. I don't know if they changed it. Like if anybody looks up Stefan Molyneux's Wikipedia page, you would think he was like a really horrible person if you read his Wikipedia page. The last time I checked it, he's one of the sort of atheist comment banned from the website, or I think early this year. Man, you would think it was a villain if you went off of his Wikipedia page. Hey, Jason. Oh. Conspiracy theory is a derogatory term to dismiss critical thinker. It can be, absolutely. Now, of course, there are conspiracy theories, but that word gets thrown around so much. It's lumped in, like conspiracy theories are also lumped in with things that have some merit to them, which is the problem. But yes, a lot of people try to dismiss critical thinking as a conspiracy. Yes, that does happen, certainly. Wikipedia is under Senate investigation. That doesn't surprise me. I didn't know that. I don't follow up with all current events. I have been following in the election. And it's going to be very interesting to see what happens here. And why not? We can go over this for a second. Everybody knows I'm an analytics nerd. It's like a family tradition that I stay up like all night on election night because I don't know. And I specifically watch like some of the worst news sources I can find for the information, as long as they have the analytical edge, because it helps me catch up on mainstream media like once in a great while. And I have a low tolerance, but at least on election day, they're covering things that have implications. So you don't have to deal with as much of the narrative stuff happening because they're pretty much just, for the most part, not completely, but sticking to the numbers and all that sort of stuff. So we'll put on NBC because I grew up watching like NBC too before the days of the internet opens up your eyes to a lot of things. And, you know, the news was the news, you know, it was always on at my house growing up. And so it's weird, like turning on NBC because we didn't have cable. So we just had local news and they had NBC. We had NBC. So it was like, man, there's some people still there from when I was like 12 years old. I mean, they're still going. It's like this weird nostalgic thing that I go through every 4 years by just like watching NBC for like 10 hours. Well, not 10 hours. I'll start at like 6 o'clock, and I was up till 4 o'clock this election day. And I'm glad I went to bed at 4 because after that, nothing happened. It just stalled out completely. So, oh my goodness. It's probably going to be a recount in Georgia. They're still at 99% of the vote, but they've added a few more to the tally. The margin based on the amount of votes is insane right now. Listen to this in Georgia. 99% of the reporting in, and it was 99 earlier today. So this is 99 point something. So this is probably like 99.5% of votes in Georgia. Donald Trump, 2,446,850. Joe Biden, 2,443,364. So that's like a 350 or 3,500 vote gap out of like 5 million votes. That is insane. Probably going to be a recount there. That's crazy. North Carolina, they haven't done anything else yet. Pennsylvania's up to 90% reporting, and the gap really narrowed. So with the big city vote coming in, it looks like Biden is probably going to end up ahead there by the time they count the last 10%. And of course, we know that is majorly going to be contested. Of course, we know Michigan, all the stuff going on there. Nevada is still really tight, within about 8,000 behind for Donald Trump. And Arizona, gap narrowing, but running out of votes. So pretty interesting today, actually. I don't know what the holdup is in Alaska. Maybe all the ballots are frozen. They have to thaw them out. The heat went out overnight and they all froze shut. Yeah, and Bobby said sled dog showing up. Yeah, they're waiting for the ballots that came in by sled dog. If Donald Trump loses, he'll start his own news station. It's pretty interesting. He'll probably do something. I wonder what he's going to do. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, a lot of shenanigans going on with the votes. From what I've seen, it seems like a lot of the fraud is more so on the registration end, like being on an honor system. So, I mean, there is fraud that happens sort of like post, like ballot, and is sort of like, I'm sure with like ballot stuffing, but I think most of the fraud is on the registration end, like people voting more than once, people that aren't citizens voting, that sort of thing. I think that's the more of the major problem, the stuff that hasn't been addressed. So you can't kind of address like that in the middle of an election because it's already too late. Things that haven't been taken care of ahead of time, you can really only just hammer any funny stuff that happens sort of like after the fact. And the question is there enough of that fraud to cause litigation to get certain states thrown out or recounted minus other things? I mean, I think this is going to be a really interesting, long drawn out process because we know Trump isn't going to back down, certainly. And it looks like without being contested unofficially, just based on the raw numbers, forgetting any potential fraud or anything, on the unofficial numbers, it certainly looks like he's not going to win. That doesn't mean he isn't going to win. I'm not making any statements about that. I'm just saying that we know if he unofficially loses, like based on the general numbers, then we know this thing is going to be contested and scrutinized very closely, and it's going to be a hot minute until anybody really knows what's going to happen for certain. So take this as a grain of salt, but I thought it was just a funny story. Like my chiropractor told me that somebody that he talked to, he had a dog that, of course, he just registered, as a dog owner. He had his dog registered, and he said that his dog got a ballot in the mail. And like I said, take it as a grain of salt. I don't know if it's a true story or not, but he said that his dog voted for Trump. So I guess the joke, like I said, whether it's real or not, I really have no idea. But he was serious when he told me that somebody told him that his dog got a ballot in the mail, and his dog placed his vote for Trump because obviously the dog's owner was pro-Trump. So he said him and his dog voted for Trump. I don't know if that's true or not. But with the crazy thing that happens with ballots, I would not be surprised if somebody's registered dog ended up with a ballot. I have heard stories from a more credible source where people will get ballots in their mailbox from the people that like used to own the house that they bought, like previous owners, that sort of thing. So especially with how forget like any post office, any bias like the postal, like the USPS has is like a sort of like an institution. Forgetting anything that's there, USPS just in general is just so horrible. I mean, there's differences. Like, I'm not talking against like the people, because some of the people I interact with the most on like a daily basis are people at the local post offices, and some post offices have just absolutely amazing employees that are local, so that live in the area, they're part of the community, and just great people. So I'm not trying to say like those people are bad, but as a whole, USPS is just managed so poorly that it's just ridiculous. Like, I wouldn't trust them with anything that was super important. Like, if you have a super high value package and you want to be sure that it gets where it's going, even with insurance, even with express mail, don't risk it with this horrible. It's just basically a system of denial. And I'm talking about this from like 15 years plus of experience. USPS, don't trust insurance, don't trust express shipment, don't trust anything. If you have something important, send it FedEx. But what I'm saying is I guarantee, just from my understanding of the Postal Service, that a lot of fishy stuff went on with ballots just because USPS had a major role in getting these ballots delivered to people and collected. I mean, you can just see this coming with just having a basic understanding of how bad the mail system is. So anyway, I don't mind. I mean, like I said, we're going into current events a little bit. I don't want to go too deep into stuff, so I'll just say, please don't start going into like the Epstein and stuff like that. I mean, I know I just don't want it to get too. I'm not going to be going into anything deep on that. We're just kind of keeping it surface-ish level stuff at the moment. We're not going to go into any deep-seated potential issues right now. How's my lamp basketball skills going? I don't know. It's been a while. I'm getting cold. I'm gonna have to put my hoodie on here in a minute, because this my mind's getting tired. This edition here, since it's got windows all around it, and it's a little bit cold in the winter. When my heat's not running, this is the room that kind of gets the coldest upstairs. So my computer's up against the windows here, so it gets a little chilly on the feet and the arms here when my heat's not running. I don't allow politics or religion on my channel. Yeah, I mean, it just depends on what your channel is. Everybody has their own thing. Nothing wrong with that. It's not my main focus here, but I don't hide from it either. I let people talk about it as long as it's not just on the live streams. I don't want to go into anything that's, I don't want any drawn out brawls. Let's put it that way. Let me check something here. I'm in my feed right now. Nugget Noggin just posted a video an hour ago. I'm catching up on what everybody's doing while I'm here on the stream. I like that thumbnail. Project Veritas just uploaded a video 9 minutes ago. I don't want that audio playing on here. I'll watch it as soon as the stream's over. Title, Pennsylvania USPS. Now that we started talking about this stuff, I just realized my stream's probably going to be demonetized. Oh well. Pennsylvania USPS whistleblower exposes anti-Trump postmaster's illegal order to backdate ballots. Okay, so the first one was in Michigan. So this is basically the same thing. They're saying it happened in Pennsylvania too. Okay, I get it now. Because the other one was Michigan, not Pennsylvania. Because I was like, that's the same thing. Different state. That makes sense. Okay. But I did borrow your digger dive idea for a video. Oh, you can't steal it from me. I don't own the idea. So go for it. If you want to make a new series out of it, Go for it. No, you don't have to give me credit. If you want to, that's awesome. But I mean, it's like I don't own the idea. Sometimes certain creators on YouTube get kind of possessive over like their thing, but honestly, you don't actually own it. But yeah, I mean, if you want to give me credit, say, hey, it's like the first guy that ever posted this idea or something. I mean, that's cool. But yeah, I guess it is one of the things I've done on here that a lot of people have liked, and I've seen a few people try it. I guess out of curiosity. Yes, that's what I try to do. You discuss it on this channel, but keep it lighter. Yeah, that's what I try to do. Or I mean, if I get deep into it, like we used to do in the live streams, I'll wait till like most people are in bed and we're here at like 2 a.m, and then I'll just go into whatever I do, because it's very rare that a lot of people on the channel will make it 5 hours into a live stream in the middle of the night, like watching on replay, and like it's split off so that it's at the end of the stream. So if somebody's watching for the chat or the coin roll hunting, like they know that they can leave when we start getting into the other stuff. So it's like it worked in the past, because then I'll talk about serious stuff like late at night when everybody's gone to bed and everybody knows I'm done coin roll hunting, and then we can just talk about whatever. And I found that doing it that way, like kind of on the back end of the live streams, it doesn't turn off a lot of people who don't want a lot of this, what people can consider baggage on the channel that's kind of like off topic from the hobby stuff. So it's actually worked over the years by me keeping the people I offend minimal, because you're always going to offend somebody, even if you just bring the topic up. So I try not to, I mean, you can't please everyone, but I do try not to go overboard, but realize that if somebody's going to unsubscribe from your channel just because you even brought up the topic of like politics or religion or something, then that's somebody that I'm not going to be able to relate to long term anyway. So I understand if somebody solely just 100% wants hobby stuff, that they probably won't stick around anyway. Because I found a lot of people, like I don't say this to be like rude, like I say it in a kind of a nice way. Like it's like, if you know, like say I'm posting only like one video a month, it's like on a serious topic or something. If you really don't like it, but you like my other content, it's really not hard just to skip a video. Like just don't click on it. Don't get mad that I posted it. Just in a very kind way, just wait for the next one. I mean, you don't have to click on it. So there's this kind of weird thing I noticed, that a lot of people will watch videos that make them upset and then get mad at you, I guess, for changing your usual content. It's like they get mad when it pops up in their feed or something. So I've just realized over the years I'm not going to be able to maintain part of the subscriber base that I would be able to have otherwise. There are some people that just don't have any tolerance for off-topic content. So I made up my mind a couple years ago that I wasn't going to try to hold that type of those types of subscriptions, because if I appease somebody for 2 years or a year or 2 years, eventually I'm going to do a video that I think is on a very important topic that's going to cause them to leave anyway. So I don't I don't pander for those types of subscriptions anymore. Like self-censoring. I don't want to say pander's kind of not quite the right word. Sandra says, oh, you can scroll or click. Now you tell me. No, Sandra, you cannot do anything other than what I tell you. Once you click on a live stream, you must stay for the duration. You have no choice. Your fate is sealed. You did a nice job earlier this year when you talked about COVID. I enjoy hearing your takes on things. Well, I appreciate that. So that was actually one of the things that really, that was just one of those things where the polarization behind that was crazy. It's like I couldn't even go into the medical aspects and the ramifications out of the reality of the situation without being attacked from both sides. Like really, that caused a lot of unhappy people on the channel. Like it was crazy. It's like I couldn't even stick to like the scientific and the health and the numbers aspect of it, like how the science and the spread meets the reality with the numbers. like I addressed that a lot later than I wanted to when I realized what was going to happen. I mean, it was so simple to me. I mean, it had an R naught that was just so much higher than a normal influenza. So I mean, it was known back in late January, early February that this was a highly transmissible, even if it wasn't really bad, or like something that was going to be catastrophic. It was known that without border closures, like I knew by like late January, like especially early February, that without border closures, the whole world, not the whole world, but I mean, it was going to circulate generally through the global population. I mean, it was just, I mean, it was fact. I mean, it was fact. It's like, if you don't close your borders, it's going to circulate through the population. I mean, it's like simple stuff. And even to say like simple stuff like that was, oh, you're fear mongering. No. I'm looking in retrospect, what's going to happen was basically that it was going to spread. And where are we at today? It's spreading. It's a highly transmissible virus that is transmitted through aerosolization. If I didn't make the word, aerosols. So you can like, especially in confined areas where there's not a lot of ventilation, jam-packed grocery stores, restaurants, pubs, anywhere where they don't have doors and windows opening and there's a lot of people, you can catch it just from it lingering in the air. Like, this is medical science. I learned a lot. I studied this thing for months. I was fascinated by it, not only because I wanted to know where this was leading, but I learned so much. I actually got into studying virology. Like, I started to enjoy it, and I learned so much things that I didn't know about like viral load. Like, you can get a lesser severity of the virus. Like, if you have a mask on and you still get the virus, you might not get a heavy dose of it. Therefore, your immune system has time to respond to it. So is wearing a mask something that is going to 100% keep you from getting it? Probably not, but it can make the form of like the illness you get potentially less severe. No, of course nobody talks about this stuff on mainstream media because it's things are on such extremes. Like, nuances. If you talk about nuance, you're like a fence sitter. You're on the fence, and like you're either for this pro nefarious vaccine agenda, by all the bigwigs, or you're like the complete opposite of that. And it's like, no, can I just look at the facts and not care about anything else and just make decisions that I think are best for me and best for the other people around me? That's all I want to do, really. I just, honestly, I didn't at first, I really didn't and still don't want to give it to my parents because they both have compromised immunity right now. So even though it's not the worst virus that mankind has ever seen and is actually less severe than most people thought it was going to be, there's a lot of reasons for that. It early on looked like the death rate was going to be potentially between 2 and 3%. It ended up being 0.2 to 0.3%, which is like 10 times better than people were anticipating. There's a lot of reasons for that. Thankfully, a lot of it due to better medical intervention and a lot of things that brought that down. But I mean, if you have compromised immunity, it's still not something you want to get. But yeah, it's interesting. To my main point, I was saying it's like, for some reason, when I was focusing on that, just the fact that I was posting live streams discussing it, there were quite a few upset people on my channel. But all I can do is just try to be reasonable. But for anyone here, like, I'll throw it out there because I don't care. I like to help people. And oh boy, we're probably gonna start getting into this stuff here now. So Larry said, I think we're all going to get it. I mean, eventually, I believe that too. I believe it's going to turn more into a herd immunity type thing. I mean, I ain't having anybody inject something into me, especially something that hasn't been studied for quite a long time. So count me out on that one. But yeah, I mean, eventually, like, it's like eventually, like, if you live anywhere in a populated area, like, you're eventually going to catch the flu, So I look at this virus the same way. Yeah, most people I think are eventually going to get this. I'm not worried about it. I mean, I have a pretty healthy immune system. But one of the biggest things that a lot of people won't talk about with this, like one of the biggest things that can help not just against this, but anything else, is you have to have really good vitamin D levels for your immune system to be operating properly and fight these things. And that's one of the information that I'm probably Big Pharma really wants suppressed, because it doesn't, fit the perpetual population of illness, that keeps them on top of things. And there would be so many viruses that wouldn't be half as bad if the world's population just understood they need to supplement vitamin D, because there's a pandemic of low vitamin D in this world. And I say one thing, if this is controversial to me, it is like the basics of basics. We see a lot of narrative out there, and I'm not saying it's not well-meaning in some instances. I believe that you can be sincerely wrong about things in my life before. So I'm not saying any of this to combat people's sincerity. There is a lot of people out there in the world right now that are just hammering issues for justice for Black people. And I don't want to go into that topic. I'm making one specific point. Listen to what I'm saying, not what I'm not saying. Listen to just what I'm saying. There's a lot of people in this world that are advocating for justice for Black people, saying that they don't have good healthcare, opportunities, that they're even getting more sick because of COVID, because of their conditions of being oppressed, and just so many different things involving that. Like, I can tell you one thing, especially involving not just the coronavirus, but general illnesses. If you truly care about people who have dark skin, open up their eyes and tell them they need to have their vitamin D levels checked, because it is a known scientific fact that the dark pigmentation of the skin causes vitamin D to be absorbed at a much lower rate than someone like me, who is very light-skinned. And there is an epidemic in the Black community in many areas of the world of them being sick because of extremely low vitamin D levels. So why don't people talk about this stuff? I don't know. But if you really care about people who are Black, start with things that can transform their life on just a basis that doesn't include, anyone else or any ideas or any interaction. Like there's a lot of people who are sick, especially people who are Black, because they don't absorb vitamin D like somebody like I do. So their levels are naturally lower. And that's one of the things that people are seeing now. I can't remember which country it was, somewhere over in, I think it was Egypt. Don't quote me on this, but they learned early on that vitamin D was key in fighting this virus. And I think it was in Egypt very early on, like way back in like March, the government supplied mass quantities of vitamin D for treatment for people, and like for programs over there for people. It's like, man, a country that actually looked at the science and said, we need to start, getting, people vitamin D. Like, I'm the type of person, my levels, if I don't supplement and spend a lot of time in the sun, my levels are just always on the low end. So like for me, if I don't supplement vitamin D, I'm very prone to getting, viruses and like complications from them that wouldn't be as bad otherwise. So like for me, even supplementing, my vitamin D stays on like the low end of normal unless I take high doses. So some people just need to take it. Dude, that don't make sense, with all due respect. I thought it made a lot of sense. There's a lot of people that are get sick constantly because of vitamin D levels. It's one of like the basic things that our body needs for our immune system to work properly. So I guess what I'm trying to say is there's ways that we can help people that we would consider, say we would consider somebody less fortunate than us or something. There's ways that I guess what a lot of the narrative out there in the world is, and it's easy to get pulled into. It's like, well, like, and I don't have anything against protesting. Like if somebody wants their ideas known, if you want to go up and hold a sign and air out your grievances, go for it. As long as you're not doing anything illegal, extracurricular activities that go along with protesting when it gets out of hand. Like if you're just protesting and that's that, yeah, go for it. I don't have any issue with protesting, but it's like, I think we live in a world that's heading toward, like, I don't want to belittle it because, some people, maybe all they can do is hold up a sign, but I'm just saying there's a general trend that it's like, I want to bring awareness to somebody, but the change has to come from somebody else. Like I want a politician to bring change. I want somebody else to make the change, or, to pass the new laws, or to do this or that and the other. But it's like a way of like, and it easily becomes a way of like passing the buck. So for me, like, what can I do? What can I do personally that could be beneficial to somebody? I think we all can do something instead of screaming at somebody else, or, just constantly spewing out our ideology. I, of course, have my opinions, but I don't make that the center point of when I'm talking to somebody else unless they want to know. So like for me, what I'm trying to say is, knowing the scientific fact that low vitamin D levels among the Black community, from what I've heard from among, like in Europe, in the United States, it is bad. It is really bad. And maybe there's some people watching this video that'll start to look and say, that's interesting. So by me saying this, some people can realize that their health is really tied to their vitamin D levels, and they get their levels up, then good. I think that information should be out there. But yep, it is a huge problem in this world. I would actually say it's one of the biggest health crises in the world. Not because it's like a disease in itself, but it's what it opens up the door to. So if you have an unhealthy immune system, I mean, you're more susceptible to just about everything that's out there. So without that proper start, your body has less of a chance to operate and fight the way it needs to fight in order to survive any type of illness. But vitamin D specifically linked to COVID, there's very strong ties in understanding now in scientific papers and understanding showing that there is a correlation there, that people with higher vitamin D levels have a much better time with the virus, certainly. Yes, it's true about vitamin D. And see, like that's something I didn't know, but yes, vitamin D, the darker your skin is, the less you're able to absorb it, the longer it takes. So yes. And of course, why do things always get worse in winter? Like the changes in the hemisphere, you absorb less vitamin D already just from the seasonal changes. So that's why let's say like the second wave or the last wave of the flu season, from what I've seen, is usually the worst one, like January and February, because people's vitamin D levels have been depleting since like September. So January and February is when they are the most depleted and the most prone to having illnesses. So I'll tell you all a quick story real quick while we're on this. So I don't know. I think I might have shared this before one time, but maybe most people here didn't hear this. A lot of you, I'm going to look in, Larry, that is funny, but tell me if you knew this. Just be honest and tell me in the comments if you knew this, that in 2018, there was a severe strain of the flu that went through the United States, one of the worst ones in a very long time, that the 2018 flu season was one of the worst ones, I don't want to say in U.S. history, but at least one of the worst ones in a very long time. 2018, like next to no one talked about it. I don't watch a lot of mainstream news, but I didn't hear about it on the street. Like normally if something's big on the news, you'll hear about it locally, from just, living in your community. in 2018, there was a severe strain of the flu that came through, and about 60,000 people, I think it was, I'm just going off the top of my head, but in the US, about 60,000 people died in 2018 from the flu season, one of the worst years. I had no idea. Honestly, before this whole virus thing started and I started studying it and watching MedCram lectures on YouTube, and John Campbell, who has been a big help, those are two channels I really recommend on the health aspects. MedCram and John Campbell, I've shared them before. Learned a ton. Really like their resources. So I'll tell you a story. So in 2018, that's when I was doing a lot of travel for YouTube, and I do a lot of interstate travel. I'm in the main arteries where people are. That's why they call it the interstate. You're traveling interstate. So in my years of doing a ton of traveling, when I was really neck deep in the traveling for metal detecting, going all over the place, I was exposed to a lot of stuff, because when I had to take a bathroom break, when I had to get a bite to eat, it was always off of the stops that are off the side of the road, the interstate gas stations, the interstate restaurants. So I was exposed. I'm like a trucker. I mean, it's basically, I was doing so much traveling. You could just say it was like being a trucker. I'm in truck stops, I'm in gas stations, etc. Those types of jobs, when you're doing that, you're exposed to a lot of stuff. So, and me too, I have a problem, especially in the summer when it's really hot. I have trouble staying awake when I drive. So like when I drive, I have to snack, drink a lot of water, like drink a lot of stuff, and just like listen to music, keep my mind occupied, or I'll just fall asleep. So I'd make a lot of stops just to break up the monotony of driving too. So in 2018, on the way back of one of my trips from Virginia for metal detecting, I could tell you which trip it was. If you look at my videos from 2018, the video that I did when I metal detected, it was like metal detecting bed and breakfast. I paid $175 to metal detect this bed and breakfast, I think was the title. It's when I was up in the Appalachian Mountains in a pretty remote old house, metal detecting. It was in the spring of 2018. I don't know if I got it from an interstate stop or from somebody else who had stayed at that Airbnb before me, but it doesn't really matter. So I figured out what happened to me when I was learning about COVID, because I was in the dark when it came to this type of stuff. So when I was studying all of this virology and stuff, I realized 2 years after the fact that I got the strain of the flu that killed 60 million Americans. I got the worst strain. Okay. So Jason, I know I'm simplifying it. I'm simplifying it, what I'm talking about now, as far as the vitamin D. But yes, you're technically yes. Okay, so back to my story. I brought the virus home, and I ended up giving it to my mom too. So as far as I'm concerned, first of all, this strain of the flu, it started behind my eyes. I didn't know. I thought something was wrong. Like I knew something was wrong even before I got like sick. Something just came over me, like this aura, like I felt like I was dying before I was even in pain. And it started behind my eyes. And this virus attacked the back of my eyes. I can't explain it, but it was like the worst it was the worst eye strain I've ever had in my life. For 3 days, it hurt to have my eyes open. And that was the sickest I've ever been in my life from a virus. And it took me about a week just to feel like almost a week to just feel like I wasn't like severely ill, like I wasn't, just felt awful. And it took several weeks until I really bounced back from it, because there was like lingering effects of it. So the part about it is my mom contracted it. So I brought it home, and we spent a lot of time together. And somehow when I was visiting my parents, or actually that was during the brief, that's why she got it, because that was during the brief period of time where they were living at the farmhouse with me. There were several months where we lived together between like transitions. And when I was getting my place. So she got it, and the virus nearly killed her. The flu, the strain that went through in 2018. So it goes to show you that, I guess what you could say, for lack of better terms, what you don't know, can kill you, for the phrase out there. But when I look back at it and realize, it's like, it is interesting how in a year where there was a severe strain of the flu, and then you learn that even with the flu, the vaccines are always a battle. Can we figure out which strain it's going to be this year? Can we pinpoint what it's going to be like? The vaccines don't always work. So in the aspect of 2018, we're talking about 60,000 deaths with vaccinations. I personally don't get them. So it goes to show you, I do see how a lot of the narrative for this virus, I mean, everybody knows the quote by now, don't let a good crisis go to waste. So of course, there have been people all over the world trying to use this global pandemic for their own nefarious purposes all over the world. There's no doubt about that. But then at the same time, if you want to have an honest conversation about it with people, they tell you, and like you want to say that it's a serious issue, then you're very easily labeled as somebody who's like fallen for the propaganda. No, I haven't. I want to talk about things that can have an impact on people's lives, like vitamin D. So, I mean, like anything, when you start getting into topics that people don't want to talk, like people have a very set idea about, nuance gets lost, and I try to focus on that nuance because it's very important. And I focus on the sort of cause and effect type thing, the things that people don't focus on. Okay, so because of the improvement of medical treatments, because of the potential mutating lower of the virus, not having as high of a death rate, there's a lot of reasons why it's not as severe as like anticipated, or has gradually improved over time. Yes, most people, it's not going to kill them unless you're like 70 plus. Almost everyone else is going to be fine. But what is happening because of the high transmission rate? So you take something and realize that it's going to have to cycle through a large portion, or I would say certainly, even if they get a vaccine rolling, I would be impressed if there would be less than 40% of the world's population getting it. I think epidemiological studies right now have already showed that certainly over 10% of the world's population has already had it. So we're already there. It's probably teetering closer to 15% now, but I'm just ballparking, estimating there. So what not a lot of people are focusing on is, yes, this thing isn't the end of the world, so to speak, but it's creating destabilization all over the globe. Countries where there are already issues, economic issues, social unrest issues, like wars and sanitation issues in some areas of the third world. This not so bad virus, I'm not going to say it's the end of the world, but this not so bad, highly transmissible virus is creating global problems because of the it's causing more issues with the stability. So we see all over the world where this is having an effect, and it's sort of like this domino effect of like secondary issues. And you can see that destabilization happening all over the place. So it's kind of like that domino effect. It's just adding one more layer to an already tricky global situation. So is that due to the deadliness of the virus? Not exactly, because it's really not that deadly. It's just because because it seems like most of the world is going to have to get this virus, it's just causing a lot of destabilizing issues. It's showing the weakness of a lot of economies that are barely getting by. It's sort of, for the lack of better terms, in a lot of instances, this was sort of the straw that broke the camel's back. It's not the worst one. It's not the first one. It just happens to be the one that broke the camel's back. All right, so we went on a bit of a rant there. Come on, focus. I'm going to get a drink here, and I need to take a break. I'll stick around a little bit longer. Probably won't stay too long. They gave him gifts. The gifts were masks. Guess where the masks were made? I wonder. I never get sick. I got that O negative. That's awesome, Dave. I don't get sick anymore. One of the big things that happened to me too, it's like sometimes more it's just the risk anymore. It's because when people are sick, they really continue to go places. And that's, I mean, I get it, like economically if you have to, but that's one of those weird things I think I talked about before in American culture. It's shifting a little bit now because of all of this stuff, but a lot of people would, I mean, I just remember when I worked retail and just the general idea, it's like in America, it was like, it's kind of like there's like a little bit of this mentality of like, if you're a weakling, if you don't go to work when you're sick. I saw a lot of, it may have changed over the years, but especially when I was younger in American culture, it's like, especially like for men, it's like, oh, I haven't missed a day of work in 4 years. So there was actually this sort of prideful attitude among a lot of men, especially, that is like they took pride in not missing work. And of course, you want to take pride in being reliable, but not if you're sick. Because I know a lot of people that they would go to work if they were sick, unless they were like so sick they could barely get off the couch, they would still go to work. And I just completely forgot where I was going with that whole thing. Oh, but anyway, so what I was saying is the fall before the virus hit, I kept getting colds. Like my immunity was getting lower and I just kept getting sick again. Like I got 2 different strains of the cold, which are coronaviruses. And I tell you what, I stopped going to the gym because, these are areas where people are breathing heavy. I play basketball. It's guys breathing on each other. You're in a confined building, and it's just easy to pick up viruses. I haven't been sick since I stopped going to the gym. So, it's like, man, because we know, like, YMCAs and that, kids go after school, whether they're sick or not. Like a lot of kids like grow up in places like that. They don't spend a lot of time at home. They're at the YMCA all the time. So like, you avoid the crowds where there's just generally a lot of sickness and you don't get sick. You don't get the viruses. I mean, if you're not healthy, I mean, you can have other health issues, but you don't get a virus, you don't get a virus in isolating yourself from other people. So, I miss the interaction of playing basketball right now, but right now I don't have any desire to get the coronavirus while there's like kind of some strain on the medical system and the treatments are not as fine-tuned as they could be. It's like, probably will I eventually get it? I mean, it's sure, if this thing sticks around for a long time or, that's never eradicated, I probably will get it at some point, but I can tell you, I don't want it yet. So when I go places, I wear a mask because I don't want to get it. And I certainly don't want to give it to my parents because my mom has compromised immunity, especially, and my dad's getting ready to have major surgery here soon. So that's my take on things anyway. That's what said, my only advice is check the facts. Yep. Best thing you could ever do is go to the sources yourself and not take anyone's word for it, even mine. Don't take my word for it. But if what I say makes sense, look into it. Larry. Yeah, basketball. I mean, it's really easy to pick up a virus playing basketball, all the heavy breathing. that work pride is still very strong in Japan. Yeah, I've looked into that in the past too. Now I've never been there, so I mean I'm sure you know much better than I do. But I've seen how there's definitely that. I don't want to say incredible, but there's that really strong that work ethic. You'd probably know a lot about the nuance on how people's work life is really tied into their self-worth. I've seen that in Japan on just how strong it is over there, the work culture. It's something else. A while back, it was quite a while back. I think I might have watched a documentary on that or something, but it was interesting. That's for sure. So I'm sure, like you're saying, that's probably true over there. If that's that true of Japan, but the interesting thing about Japan is, though, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a general, like, even though there's that sort of major overemphasis on, like wealth as sort of like your, like you wrapped up in your legacy and your self-worth. But at the same time in Japan, from what I saw, there was a lot more general sanitation than there is in the United States, where before COVID, it was already acceptable in society for people to wear masks. Like before COVID, if you walked into a store with a mask on, people would look at you here like you were a bank robber or you were goofy. I mean, I worked retail, and there was only like times, for 5 years I worked retail, and there was maybe times I could count on one hand that I saw people with a mask. So like before COVID, nobody cared. Everybody just got sick. They just, it's flu season. I'm going to get the flu at least 3 times. That's life. And that's the attitude I saw in place, especially in retail, which in a lot of, how do I say it kindly? Well, it's where a lot of people get their start in life. We'll say it that way. Thank you, Redskin. I appreciate the happy birthday. I may continue to wear my masks years after COVID is gone. And yeah, actually, since I started studying all of it, I wouldn't wear it everywhere. It just depends on the situation. If I'm going to go into a very crowded place where there's no ventilation or very little ventilation, then absolutely, I would certainly wear one, even post COVID, if there is such a thing. It just depends on where I'm at. Like if I'm going in a local deli or restaurant where there's not a lot of traffic and there's maybe a few people sitting down, I'm not going to bother. But yeah, anywhere where there's a lot of people, especially during flu season, like I was saying, December, January, February, when people's immunity is the lowest and all the coronaviruses and all the viruses are going wild because people are just generally sick and they just spread it around like crazy. Are the times of the year where even if there is no coronavirus, it would be a good idea to wear a mask when you're going to be around a lot of other people in areas that are not ventilated. Because who wants to get the flu? I don't want to get the flu. Same here, Mud Swat. But honestly, before COVID, I was so oblivious to how viruses worked. I mean, I would say a lot of the times I got sick were strictly my fault. Just, like I said, being off the interstate, being in those gas stations where, people from all over the country are bringing their germs and their viruses. And, maybe sometime I wouldn't wash my hand and I'm eating snacks in the car. Yeah. I mean, my goodness. I'm much more aware of things now. It's like before I just cut corners, and now I'm like, yeah, idiot. You're the reason you were sick half the times you got sick, probably, But actually, the winter before the coronavirus hit is when I got sick the most. Because generally I never really got that sick, or it would be mild illnesses. Like before that, I rarely had any illnesses. For many, many, many years, other than just maybe a minor cold here and there. But it was a good wake-up call for a lot of people. I wonder too that because of all this awareness of it, I actually wonder that, say, the lid does get on COVID, or they have a vaccine and they get herd immunity through that, or or say perhaps we eventually get herd immunity. I wonder, with just the general awareness now of how viruses spread, if long-term the flu season and like the flu spread will go down too, because more people are being more cautious about it. I always wondered about that too. Like maybe 3 years from now, are we going to see flu cases drop too? It's possible. Carol Alexander with a 99-cent super chat or a super sticker with a slice of birthday cake. I appreciate that, Carol, for the birthday wishes. I didn't even know there was that super sticker. I've never seen it before. Probably because of my last birthday. I don't think super stickers existed yet, so that's really cool. Thank you, Carol. All right, Sandra. Just leave me here in the dust. I don't know. Okay, let's pivot here a minute, because probably nobody wants to talk about that. Here's something interesting. People in Japan also just wear masks to hide from the public eye. Japan says they have a population decrease problem. Oh, that's interesting. So they wear masks just to hide from the public eye. Okay, so another reason there. Japan is very high tech, but there are a lot of common sense attitudes roaming around, like no hot water in public facilities, etc. Interesting. Yes, I mean, I've heard about that. I know there's a term for it. I don't want to talk about it, of that here, but I've seen that, how some people are just so overburdened with the, like the stress, like you said, where they just end it. And I've also seen there's this very specific phenomenon in Japan where people work themselves so hard that they literally just die on the spot. Now, obviously that's not like common, but where people are just so overworked that they literally just have this sort of cardiac arrest or something where they just die from overworking themselves. It's interesting. Culture is definitely an interesting thing when you look across. Becca said it's called Koshi. Yeah, I knew it had a name. What was I going to say now? Because I was going to pivot into something else, and now I forgot what I was going to say. So when you have a good point too, and I forgot what I was going to say. I know it was pivoting back to the election thing, and I completely forgot now. Sandra, you can watch while eating a snack. Don't make excuses now. Yeah, you used to get. Oh yeah, I would have never thought pre-COVID walking into a bank with a mask, you would have get many eyeballs on you quickly, especially with a mask on and like a metal detector. Somebody sees you in the local park. What was I going to say? But yeah, I've seen weird stuff too, like people hiking in the woods like a mile away from civilization, and they still had masks on. Like that was like weird. So I definitely seen there is a bit of paranoia too, unfortunately. Yeah, that was kind of odd. Like when you see somebody like a mile into the woods and they have a mask on, it's kind of odd. Because like you're hiking and you want to be breathing better. It's like you get hypoxia or something. What was I going to say? Sometimes it doesn't bug me and sometimes it really bugs me. I got off on another rabbit trail and I forgot what I wanted to say. And it was like one of those things like tied so much stuff in that I wanted to say. It's driving me nuts. What was I going to say? Maybe if I scroll up in the chat, it'll re-trigger where my mind was at. Because then Carol sent that super sticker and I think then I started talking about something else. What was I going to say? Unbelievable. I don't know, but it'd actually be an interesting thing with all of these with the election too, there's always something that this thing just starts to spike back up with the virus. First, we had the kids going back to school, which was proven that that's one of the reasons why the spread increased again when they opened up the schools back here in the US. And now we had election day and people rallying up before that, and then now going into this. So we might see another delay because the data is always behind. So maybe in the asymptomatic people, and it takes time to get sick. So it's possible in like 5 to like maybe 7 days from now, we might start to see another spike again. I mean, it's just like, man, it's just like here in America, it's like people can always just find a reason to get together when it's probably not the greatest idea to be gathering in mass numbers. And I understand voting is important and stuff like that. And you're using your constitutional right, but it's like, man, it's one thing after the next. This virus is just going to keep spreading and like really quickly. But I mean, we're probably going to be getting going for herd immunity again anyway. So I guess if everybody wants to get it, they have the right to get it. I don't care. I mean, I have a pretty strong ideas on type of this stuff. I just don't like intervention in anything. I like minimal government. I mean, like literally, like I have a right to die. I should have a right to die. It's even expensive to die. I can't even die for free. I'm not even allowed. You can't even dig a hole and throw me in the garden in the backyard. It's illegal. It's like, man, I'm not even allowed to die on my own property. You got to ship me off in a box somewhere else for a very modest sum. Everybody's got their hands in the cookie jar. Everybody's got their hands in the cookie jar. We live in a crazy world. Oh man, I'm trying not to get into the morbid humor. I know some people may not like it, but I mean, I know where I'm going when I die, so it's borderline fun for me to talk about death. So now what was I going to say? Man, my brain's really not working tonight. What was it? My brain? It's been way too long since I've done a live stream. I can't even keep my thoughts right in my head. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. Okay, at least I remember this point. So I actually get a kick out of advertising for a lot of like funeral homes and like services and things like that, because I mean, we live in a world that is plastered with this sort of corporate leaning, like advertising's everywhere. Everybody's fighting for business, etc. And it's really no different when it comes to like funeral homes and stuff. So like when I see signs, sometimes like when it has to do with places like funeral homes, I'm like, I start to think, who thought this was a good idea? Like just stop for 1 second. Okay, there's a way to do something, and then there's not a good way to do something, and maybe not so good way to do something. So I just did a double take once. Once I drove past a sign, and it said, so-and-so place, cremation done properly. And I'm thinking for a second, I'm like, I can't, it might have said something else too, but I'm like, oh, it said like cremation done right. And I'm like, yeah, I hope so. They could have done singed to perfection. Like, who thought, like, once you start down this road, like, where do you stop? Like, I was thinking, cremation done right. I think like I couldn't just I still think that's too far. Like they may have well just put on the billboard like singed to perfection. Like where are you going with this? And then I saw one. So I live in the Tri-Cities area in Northeast Tennessee, where there's the cities are generally the larger areas are Bristol, Johnson City, and Kingsport. That's why they call it the Tri-Cities area. So I saw a sign the one day, and it said, I think this was this for a crematory or for, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think it was for, or it was, yeah, it was for a crematory. or, general, whatever you pick. Okay. So it said Bristol's only, okay, I will just use crematory. I can't remember the exact verbiage. It was Bristol's only crematory, Bristol's lowest prices. So the ad is basically stating that we have a monopoly on death. If you're the lowest price and you're the only place of business, you're actually also the highest price. So they could have basically said, here's the ad. We have a monopoly on death. So you're going to have to get it done here unless you travel somewhere far away. So I don't know. Anywho, that was, I hope that anybody could get a laugh out of that. Mark said, JD, you're young having you're having young timers disease. I guess I am, Mark. I experience with growth. I would just leave it there. I don't want to gross anyone out. Yeah, like I said, I'm not going to go into it. I just wanted to talk for a moment how we were talking about the right to die, and then going into that, and how just the advertising for all that stuff, like, it's just, I've seen some billboards that did it the right way. They tried to make it very nice and polite, and it wasn't like they were doing the ad thing. That's the thing. Like, you can have an ad that's kind of not an ad. Like, there's, of course, most ads are like, they have some sort of buzzword or thing. It's basically to get you to buy their stuff, buy their services. That's the whole point of an ad, to be visible and catchy. But like, if you're going to do an ad for something like a funeral home, maybe targeting price in the process and being better than everybody else and not the best approach. Maybe you could just say the name of the place and just something very, very nice and pleasant, or, something that is showing respect. Like, if I did it, like, sure, I'm not saying there's a problem with having an ad, but I guess what I'm trying to say is I think there's a very wrong way to do it. And I've seen some of those signs while I'm driving, and I'm like, does that say what I think it said? It's like one of those moments where the bells just click off, Yeah, you're only a customer once at the funeral home, right? Sandra said, I completely got what you were explaining. Well, I'm glad you understand, Sandra. But yeah, back to that. I mean, I still agree. I still believe in people's right to die. I mean, like, if a whole crowd of people want to get together and all get the coronavirus together, and there's old people there, and they know that they're at heightened risk, and they know there's a possibility they can get it, and they know there's a possibility that it'll cause them to die, and they still want to gather. It's like, see, that's why I don't like lockdowns. It's like, don't dictate people's life. Now, on the other hand, if you have individuals that are disrespectful, and they have this anarchistic mindset of like, oh, I'm going to be so cool and hip, and I'm not going to wear a mask. And not only I'm not going to wear a mask, I'm going to get up in your personal space because, you're like a wuss, and I'm just going to breathe on you. Now that's just rude. Not only is it rude, if you have a virus, you're actually potentially giving something to somebody that can kill them. So I'm not saying, yeah, of course there's jerks in society, and I'm not kind of talking about that, but generally that's why I hate the lockdowns. It's like, you just tell people they can't live anymore. Well, if you're worried about getting sick, either wear a mask or stay home. But why does everybody have to stop living? So I do believe, like me, I wear a mask in most public places. Like I said, there's one or two local spots that's never busy, and I don't wear a mask going in because I'm not concerned about it. But generally, I wear one when I go into crowded areas, and because I don't want to get it, I don't want to transmit it to anyone else. Within reason, like saying this isn't controlling my life, but I want to try to be sensible. But also, I believe that I have a right to die if I don't want to wear a mask. And, I'm not in a job where, I can constantly give it to other people. Like I do it out of respect, like for not getting other people sick, basically. I do it out of respect. That's why I do it. But I think people should have a right to die. Like I really do. It's like, what are we going to do? Stay home for the next 2 years and just do nothing? I mean, at some point you have to say, well, here's how I kind of look at it anyway. Like life is a risk. We all take risks, and we can argue all day about how we want to manage that risk. Like I could tell everybody on YouTube that I think you like hate yourself if you drink soda because it's just full of processed sugar and it depletes your immunity. That may be true, but it's not my place to tell everybody how to live. We all do different things and for different reasons. And does that mean you're a bad person because you drank a soda? No, not necessarily, but it's something I don't do, And sometimes I do eat stuff with a lot of processed sugar, but I tried to cut soda out on my diet because it's basically just like sugar in a can that converts completely to fat. I mean, there's really not much good that can come of it. That's my opinion, but we all have I've done stupid stuff. Really stupid stuff. And I've had habits that aren't good habits, but we all share that freedom in being able to be stupid. We all, make our own decisions. And now all of a sudden, like I just think the lockdowns in some areas gets crazy. It's like, okay, you're no longer to accept general risk tolerance because we're going to tell you how to live. No, that rubs me the wrong way. So it's like, yeah, I mean, if you wanted, there's a lot of other things that are important to focus on other than, whether somebody's wearing a mask or not. There's a whole lot of other things we could talk about. Yeah, look, like weed, beer, cigars, everything. It's like, yeah, should we ban cigarettes, or should we just tell people, give people the freedom to choose, I've never smoked in my life and I have no desire to smoke, but man, I guess this just whole control everything. I don't like where that goes. It only goes one place. Janet, if I saw that, I would definitely do a double take. Larry said, what is your worst bad habit? Man, we might be getting a little too into the weeds here. No, that was not a play on words. Just smoking weed. I mean, like into the weeds is an expression. It's probably not a good expression to use. No, I've actually never smoked marijuana. I've never smoked anything except my opponents. I smoke them all the time. Probably, I mean, I'd say like a lot of times like diet related stuff is one of the things like I've gone in and out of. Like sometimes like you just hit a couple days in your life where you're like really down and out and you just have a bad, have like eat tons of junk food or something. Like I've been there. I've done that. One of the probably the worst habit for me to shake. One of the worst habits when I was younger, when I was about 20 is anyway, when I was, it was like when I was like 21, was poker. So here's the problem with it. Most people, like if they have an issue with gambling, it gets really out of control. Like they can go broke. It's all they ever do, and it affects like all areas of their life. The tricky thing, like with me in retrospect, is it got a little bit worse, not because of typically why people think about like gambling as being bad, of like people that don't have any control. It was because I was kind of good at it. So it's not like I lost a lot of money. Like sometimes I could make money from playing Texas Hold'em. I loved playing Texas Hold'em online when I was younger with real money. And I wasn't afraid to throw decent amounts of money out there. I've always been a high risk person, no matter what I do. It's like, like all of this YouTube stuff I'm doing right now is coming because I am just a crazy person. And then when I go in on something, I go like all in. I have had some crazy ventures in life, and YouTube's just part of that. So I just couldn't stop playing Texas Hold'em. It was like, I just got addicted to it. I love doing it. And it's like, I was the type of person, I would make money and do the slow and steady, because it's weird. It's not like strictly gambling, because there's a skill element to poker. Like, I was never the person to like do like slots or something like that. I would hated casinos and like, no, just not like standard gambling. But like poker's one of those things, it's a mix. It's a mix of gambling and a skill game. So I would go through these points where I would lose my resolve, and it kind of turned into gambling. Like if you played a lot of bad hands, or you were having a bad day, and then you would lose your composure, and then you would just start like trying to make up the lost ground, or like you would people that play professional poker, you have to be extremely disciplined. And I was like, my discipline was hit and miss. So what would happen is I would build up and be like, I don't know. In retrospect, I didn't really throw around that a lot of money, but say I'd be like up $1,000, like $1,000 that I'd build up from playing poker. And then I would push my luck, and then I would lose it all. And then I would do it again, and then I would lose it all. So in my days of playing Texas Hold'em, even though I could have made money, I always just would get upset and make unnecessary risk, and then I would lose it all again. So for me, it became this weird cycle. It's because like if I would have lost a lot of money, I would have just eventually stopped. But it's like I was stuck in this loop and realized I'm never going to be incredibly successful. And even if I am, after a point, I was like, what am I doing? Why am I even doing this? It was just weird. It's like loving the game, kind of like at that time in my life is like, whoa, man, I think I could be really good at this and make a lot of money. And then, I don't know. Anyway, I probably gave too much details, but that was probably one of the hardest habits for me to break, is because I was really suckered into it. I was like, I guess the point of an addiction is you can't stop. And I was definitely in on the Texas Hold'em online. I love poker, but not addicted to lose my savings, but I would make money, and quite a while I'm ahead. In Japan, it is illegal. That's crazy. I didn't know it was illegal there, but they're trying to pass a bill for casinos. I hate machine gambling. Yeah, you sound like I was, as far as hating machine gambling, but liking the poker. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I remember, like, I mean, I could, it's one of those things, like, I could have got really good at it. If I disciplined myself and studied it, and, actually applied myself as poker as like a skill game, and not just going off of like my instinct. If I would have actually studied poker better, I mean, I think I was really good at poker for being somebody that wasn't, studying and knowing what to do in certain situations, like how the odds play out in every scenario. I wasn't like that. I wasn't a professional by any stretch of the imagination, even though I was good at it. So I could have been really good at it, like had I wanted to, but I mean, it's something that I knew I wanted to quit and never do again anyway. Cause it's like one of those things. It's like once you start, but anyway, like for example, I probably the best I ever ranked. And it was funny. The closest I had ever been to making actually a pretty sizable chunk of money, for lack of better terms, I actually didn't place better in the tournament because of bad luck. So I was, of course, most of the major tournaments online are like the group tournaments, not like the one-on-one, like the head-to-head, but like the group tournaments where you get like thousands of people, and they keep, the antes keep going up, and then each table you keep knocking people out, and then it's on this time decay where it keeps going up and up and up. And so basically after a certain amount of time, it's fast paced, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So I made it one time in a tournament that was multi-thousand people. I don't know how many it was. It might have been 5,000 people. I don't remember, but it was one of those tournaments where there were thousands of people in it. And I made it to the last table of 10. And I placed, now it's one of those weird tiered things in poker. Like once you start getting to like 10th, the last table, each place after that, the money starts to really, really ratchet up. And I placed 9th. And I was really mad because I know it's so rare to get to the last table in a tournament of thousands of people. It takes not only, because like I said, poker's like skill and luck. And in a tournament that big, there's skill and there's a lot of luck too. There's like skill and there's luck. So I got to the last table, and when you basically can't fool around, you just have to make your moves. Like if you want to go all in, you have to go all in. You have to play hard, basically. At the last table, you can't be, your antes will use up your stack quickly, especially if you're toward the bottom end of the pack. And I had enough discipline to know that certain hands, you just have to play them. Like you can't play at the last table. You can't be fearful is what I'm trying to say on like a time decay tournament. So I was so mad. I got dealt, I think it was jacks. I can't remember. And actually it might've been queens. I can't remember, but anyway, I was dealt, we'll just say I was dealt queens. And I mean, that's a no-brainer that you're going to play it hard at the last table with the antes going up fast. And I think my count was a little bit below half. So I was on the bottom end of the pack, or at least right below. I was like maybe on the low end of the middle of the pack. So I knew that that's a hand you just play it. And so I had jacks or queens and just went all in off the bat. And somebody else called it because they were dealt. It was either kings or aces. And that's one of those things you're like, oh, there's always that moment. I mean, at the end of the day, there's that chance element to it. And you could do everything perfectly right and still lose. And I played that hand absolutely right because the ante to my ratio, it was like 1-4. I didn't have the opportunity. Like I could have, like waiting for a better hand would have been stupid. Like you couldn't play so in trying to get myself into position where winning one hand would have put me in the top of the pack to really have a chance at winning the whole thing. And instead I ended in 9th, 9 out of 10 at the last table. So anyway, that was a story for everybody. Somebody asked me about my addictions when I was like 21 years old, around like my early 20s. And even before that I played, but it just, it wasn't with money. But I went through a period of probably, it wasn't really long, but like 6 months where all I wanted to do was just play for money poker online. So there you go. But yeah, I don't do anything like that anymore. I also don't like feeding the system. I've had changes in my mind too. Personally, I look at gambling as just a not a very good system. I mean, there's only one winner, and that's the casino. For the most part, it's like scratch off tickets. You give all the money to the state, and who knows what state you live in and what they're doing with that money. So the state's the only winner because they always win, like on scratch off tickets. So you're basically cumulatively giving money to another entity while most people are losers. And then you have these few select big winners or moderate winners that turn into the songbirds. Oh, I made a lot of money, and then the cycle repeats itself. So I had a change of mind a long time ago where I saw gambling as a very, I believe it's a very demeaning, what it does to society overall. I see gambling as something that I just didn't want to be part of, even if it was partially skill-based. I just had the idea of like, I didn't want to be part of that monster of gambling and where it leads. And like where I live now, in the general area where I live, there's signs all over. There's people fighting a battle. Like a lot of people want to bring a casino into this area, and there's a lot of people for it and a lot of people against it. And I don't like it because okay, so maybe it can improve the economy, and like it has sort of this engagement into it where it brings money in from the outside. but I don't like the idea. I mean, look at Las Vegas. I mean, it's like a culture in itself, and I think where all that leads is just not a very good place. So washed my hands of that a long time ago, and never since did. But yes, at one point in time, JD was an aspiring, let's say, professional poker wannabe. I don't like anything that takes advantage of other people. That's a good comment. I kind of generally have the same idea. I don't like anything where it see, like gambling, it preys on people's vulnerability. And it's funny, like, I just look at all the state level stuff. They're like, they'll have the gambling hotline on the back of their scratch off ticket. They might be trying to tell you something. Gamble responsibly. I just think that's a whole nother story about how states have literally states have monopolized, or they, the like legalized gambling industry. They control it. It's kind of crazy when you really think about it. Like the state lotteries, I don't like it. Like if somebody buys me a scratch off ticket for like a birthday or Christmas or something, I don't get stuff like that anymore. But when I was young, I might have got some of that from relatives or something. But I'll scratch it. But like I won't ask for that stuff. Like I just hate supporting those systems. And I remember the advertising that went into it when I was in Pennsylvania. The commercials are seared in my brain. I'm Gus, the second most famous groundhog in Pennsylvania. That was like their mascot for selling scratch-off tickets because, of course, he's second to Punxsutawney Phil, the most famous groundhog. So their mascot was the second most famous groundhog in Pennsylvania, i.e. Gus, who would say, "Keep scratching." I know. We're going into crazy territory now. Hey, J3B, what's going on? Glad you could stop by. I got to stretch for a minute. I've been here way too long. Oh, I've been here way too long. Oh, need a drink too. Oh. Hey, that's a good point too. If you win, you have to pay taxes on it too. So yeah, in that context, winning the lottery is like the state lotteries is such a money scam because not only do they automatically make a revenue, but they siphon off part of your revenue from your profits. That is a really good point. I didn't think about that end of it. So it's like a big lose-lose, except for, like I said, those few select big winners. And then, of course, because that's considered income, the feds funnel their portion, and then the state usually, some states don't have income tax, but most do. So then the state funnels their portion after they had already received a profit from the product. Man, talk about a cycle of consolidation of power. Yeah, certainly. Time for a lamp basketball during the intermission. Now we'll let it go today because I need to get one of those sideways outlet things so I don't accidentally start a fire with my couch. As you can see that there, I have found out that these outlets, I'm probably going to have to change it. They are super loose. So we're not going to start throwing random objects over there tonight because we don't want a house fire. At least that's my story and I'm sticking to it. Yeah, then you pay taxes on what you buy. That's right. Taxes a lot of people don't understand the continuous loop of taxes and how it works, how government sustains itself to the point where the government itself wants to exist because it's become its own beast. It's a self-perpetuating system where, of course, the government's always going to tell you how much you need them because they need you to exist. So they tell you that you need them. It's the same here in Canada. Then they buy a $200,000 rubber ducky. So there's 52 people in here right now. So today I think was a mix of people. Well, we kept it on the hobby topics earlier. So partially I think some people left. There's probably not a lot of people here because a lot of people are following the election and other current events right now. Can't roll that out, but I think because I've been very inactive on YouTube too, that my notifications did not reach a lot of people except for those who had my bell clicked for notifications. So we didn't have a lot of people in here at one time today. So I kind of like that sometimes because then I can kind of let my lack of hair down and talk about some other stuff toward the end of these streams. Becca said I didn't get notified. I've been having problems with the notifications too. There's really nothing I can do about it. YouTube system's really bad. Even for those who have notifications on, a lot of them are selective for which ones they send out. It's really goofy. So it's I don't want to talk about that now. I've talked about that too many times in the past. Bondman, that's why I said my lack of hair. Bob said, first time live with you. Happy birthday. I appreciate that, Bob. Glad you could be here for the first time. So let's, the one good thing about fewer people being in a live stream is, as I said earlier, for other topics, you don't tick as many people off, except for those who watch it back. But most people do not watch it this far into a live stream. So we can talk about heated topics and, I don't lose a lot of subscribers. What are you talking about, Wanda? I wasn't following unless I missed another comment you posted. Oh, the fly swatter. No, that's just because in the summer here, this room gets a lot of bugs. Not only are they attracted to the lights, but there's a lot of cracks in there. And for some reason, this is just the room of the house where if I get bugs, they're always in here. Or if I get a bee or a hornet in here, they always end up in here. So that actually, I don't need that in here anymore right now. But yeah, if anyone in the chat's bad, I can spank them. That's what that's for. I actually did have, I thankfully got to it early. I had a nest of yellow jackets in my walls this year. That was not fun. And some of them ended up in the house here. Some of them got through the walls and into this portion of the house. And always tried to get out the window that's in the front there. But I got that taken care of, thankfully. It didn't get too bad before I got it taken care of. I do live in an area. Oh, here's something for you guys. Now that we're talking about bugs, I won't get anything too gross. I have a pretty significant issue with a black widow spider population directly around my house. 5 of them now. Like, I don't know how long it takes black widows to grow, so I don't know. But we're talking big ones, so I don't know if there was a net. There was obviously a nest here at some point, and they kept repopulating. I found number 5 on the black widow spiders here now. After never seeing one anywhere else I've ever lived, 5 of them in my yard around my house. 5 black widows. I'm not joking. Actual legitimate black widow spiders. So I have to be pretty careful when I'm doing lawn work and stuff, pulling weeds and flipping things over. They really like it at the base of my gutters right now. That seems to be where they like it. Not keen on wasps, certainly not indoors. Yeah, I'm not keen on them to begin with, but certainly not in the house. I like to share some YouTube videos. It's not letting me do at the moment. What gives? I am not sure. A cool streaming chair will go a long way for your back. Dave, this is very specific. I know this looks very uncomfortable. Okay. There's a reason for this. This chair is specifically, so it's a specific shape where I can keep my back aligned where I'm sitting here and I'm not hunching over. And that's why I have my posture corrector on. I do the streams with this now. This chair, though it's not like a lazy boy, it's not comfortable, it is actually perfect for my computer work. It probably makes no sense, but working for myself, I've been through so many different computer chairs you couldn't imagine. But when I'm in the comfortable ones, I end up like this. And I like, and then in a position where I don't need to be in, or I end up like this, or something. So there's actually a method to this madness. It's an error with Facebook's. They're fixing it. Becca said brown recluse at my place. Yeah, I haven't had any issues with them, but I've kind of had this fear living in Tennessee ever since somebody told me that they like to hide in people's shoes. And then if you stick your foot in your shoe, then they like to bite you because you make them all aggravated and almost squish them. So I don't check my shoes because I guess I'm rebellious. But I'm always wondering, what if there's a brown recluse in my shoe? But now it's kind of serious. I will not leave yard shoes outside here because no, I am not getting a black widow in my shoe. Not happening. So probably not a good idea to keep my yard shoes in the garage either now that I think about it. But it's easier for me to keep them up here, like kind of on my steps that go down to my basement. I set my yard shoes there now. So I'm going to stick to that now that I think about it. So if I'm just going to keep them in my house, then I won't have to wonder. Did I work on my antique cruiser bike yet? No, that's actually something I haven't gotten to yet. I mean, I don't know I can't do any restoration work to it because that's not I'm not experienced in that area, but I will spiff it up and clean it up real good and get some air in the tires probably pretty soon. That's my next thing I got to get on. Yeah, I'm getting cold here too. I had my heat turned off because it's kind of that weird one at night, but you open up the windows during the day to let the sun in. So now that it's getting late here in this room, like my feet are getting really cold, and the heat's going to have to go on here within like the next hour because the temperature's starting to drop in here now. Yeah, I think the next video you guys might see from me, I might do a quick video on my bee colony. You can all see me in my bee suit. It'll be a short video. I'll explain what I'm doing with it. And I thought it was just my overprotective mom telling me about spiders and shoes. Who knew? No, apparently the brown recluses really like people's shoes. And it seems to be Becca saying the same thing. Yep, shake them before you put them on. Yeah, no, the brown recluses, I hear they like shoes. They like to crawl in people's shoes. So, oh boy. But I don't even have to say who that is referring to. That's a funny comment. The bee jokes are always, Speaking of which, that one bee joke I made in a video a while back that I was talking about in 2018 when we were talking about virus-related issues, I just remember in that video, I accidentally made a bee-related pun, completely on accident, and everybody in the comment was telling me that, oh, that was such a cute pun, and I'm like, what pun? I had to watch it back because I think it was just that I said at first. Now I say it now as a joke, but at first I think I said I'm going to let him be, like I'm going to leave him alone. It was completely inadvertent, and everybody like cracked up at the pun or rolled their eyes, one of the two. So now that's kind of always my joke. I'm going to let them be. So I was actually thinking about naming my colony. So maybe I'll take a poll or something, but it was kind of a joke. Well, I used to live under an HOA that was called the Colonies. So I was thinking about calling them the Colonies, but it kind of doesn't make any sense. And it's kind of boring, honestly. So I was going to do a play off of like, it's kind of like a colony. So it's like a place kind of like where all the bees stay. So I was going to call it like, maybe make a big sign, call it the Colony Inn. Okay. Is that, so on a scale of lame from 1 to 10, how bad is that? Do you like that, or is that horrible? So it's kind of like a play on like a Quality Inn or something. It's like the Colony Inn. I don't know how I feel about it yet. So I don't know, just ideas mulling around my head. Okay, did I say scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst? So you're putting two in the comment, 1, is that good or bad? Wait, I said a scale of 1 to 10. Is that good or bad? I can't remember what I said, 1 being good or 10 being good. Bad. Okay, that's what I thought. I'll work on it. Maybe that one will have to we'll leave it be. Coin Kid, I've been good. See, it's getting late. My slang's getting bad. I've been good. How you been? The Hexagon. There you go. That's a name. Maybe we could do a play on words with the hexagon. You got me thinking now. Because I actually watched that video recently. What was that channel? I can't remember. I can never remember the name. Is it CP Gray? Hexagons or bestagons? I watched that video recently, actually, and got me thinking about hexagons. Now I'm seeing hexagons everywhere after watching that video. Maybe we could do a play on words with hexagons. Maybe mixing something to do with bees into the, I like this idea of it being like an inn, right? So, kind of like a place where you stay, like the old fashioned, the inn. It was always just called the inn. If you went into town, you stayed in the inn. So maybe we could start with in with 2 N's, indescribable. No, that's really bad. This is brainstorming here. You could really do something with that. In good cheer. Be in the honey hexagon, the honey inn. I'm reading them here now. Beehive yourself. Okay. Boo. It's a good pun. It's got to have something. Has to be playing off of a bigger theme, like the concept of in. Be inside. Be in the box. You guys are coming up with some good ideas. Be incredible. How about that? Be incredible. So it's like the Incredible Lodge for bees, the Be Incredible. And it's also very uplifting if you misread it. Reminds you to be incredible. I think we're going somewhere with this. Be incredible. I don't know. I'll have to mull that one around for a little bit. XP Motor Lodge. JD, can you see my comments? Coin Nation, let me scroll up. I haven't been focusing on the chat very good. Honey gone in. Yeah, there's a lot of ways you can spin this. The Buzz Motel. I think I want to stay away from the bee noises puns. I think they're a bit overused. I think I'm going to deliberately avoid bee noises because, yeah, for that reason alone. Indescribable has a better ring to it rather than be incredible. That just sounds more like a cheap slogan. Be incredible. It's just, I like the pun, but I think it just sounds off. Now, they are honeybees, so we could play off of that too. Bee in honey. Oh, that's actually a pretty good pun. Bee in honey. Okay. I think I see where you're going with that. How about, like somebody would say, I'm in the money. How about I'm in the honey? I'm in, two N's, the honey. I'm in the honey. I don't know. I think we're getting somewhere. The honey pot. Bee in, honey out. Maybe I'll have to take like the top few best ones and do like a poll. Can you hear that on the, when I pop my elbows, can you hear that on the audio? Just wondering. Yes. This is a pretty good microphone, and I have it set on directional, which is why the audio is so clear, even in this big spacious room. This has multiple patterns, this new microphone I have, and I have it set to have run on a certain pattern where it's only direct. So it doesn't give, like if I go over here and start talking, it should sound different. So anyway, well, we won't go into polar patterns now. Focus on me. There we go. The bee sting in. That would have to be a very mean colony. My bees are fairly docile. Coin Nation, when did you send me a package? Let me, I'm trying to think. Are you talking about? I'll have to double check if I got it. I don't remember getting a package, or at least anytime recently. Let me double check before I tell you for sure. But send me an email. I'll get back to you on your question there. I will say up front, I probably can't like promise in advance, but like when it gets closer, what I'll say is like email me like a month before, and then we can discuss that if you want to meet up. So like, because I really can't make any long-term promises right now, but yeah, like reach out to me when it's closer, and then I'll let you know if it's possible at the time. Everybody's still going with just the bee names. I think I'm going to keep it simple. I want to go for more like it has that feel, like that homey feel to it. So like be in peace. Be in peace or something. No, that's still a little too corny. Be in. Something be in. I think I'm going to stick with that. Because that would make you feel like you want to stay there. The be in peace. But you kind of think it almost has to start with in or end with in, not kind of be in the middle. So like the something in. So pun followed by in. Something like that. We'll figure it out. Hey, Jackie, good to see you. I'm putting my hoodie on now. I'm freezing. Oh, I'm up. Actually, yeah. Let me go see what my heat's on. It's actually 67 degrees in here, which I don't set it any higher than that. So here's something for everyone. I guess over the years, for some reason, I am very adaptable when it comes to weather because I don't like extremes. Like when it's really cold outside, I don't like it really hot inside, or vice versa. So I used to always leave my, I told you those stickies don't stay. That's the one I put on earlier. I'll have to put that back up in a minute. So I used to always keep my heat in previous years on 68. And a lot of people think that's cold. Like I used to keep my heat consistently all winter long. I'd have it on like 68. And then like I really wouldn't touch it. Now I think when it gets colder, then you actually want it a little bit warmer. It's weird kind of how that works. But now I haven't been setting it higher than 65 because I've realized like when I set it higher than 65, I get too hot sometimes. But also my air system here is a little bit weird. It'll sometimes warm it up a few degrees higher than you set it. So what happens is if I set it higher than 65, I wake up and I'm burning up. Like from all the hot blowing air, I'm like miserably hot. So for some reason, I've literally been leaving my heat on 65 all the time. And it hasn't really bothered me. I'm just cold now because I'm sitting here doing nothing in this area that's by all these windows. Otherwise, I'd be fine. Jackie, the only problem with this is I don't go off of Celsius. Here in the US, I only know how to use Fahrenheit. I can't do the calculation in my head. Never did the conversions in my head for Celsius, so I don't even know what 19 Celsius is. Yeah, I'd have to run the conversion on Google. Linda says I always keep mine at 69, but always gets turned up. So like in the summer, I keep my air set on around, just depends, but like I don't go usually any colder than 75 in the summer. So sometimes it's on 70. Yeah, it's usually around like 75. Because I go in some places where people have their air on like 68 and I'm like froze. Quick calculation, double it and it adds 30 for Celsius to quick calculation, double it and add 30 for Celsius to Fahrenheit. Okay. Double it and add 30. I knew there had to be a quick calculation, and that's a nice mental shortcut. And I probably will remember that because I'm kind of a numbers person. So 19, 19, 38, 48, 58, 68. There we go. Did I do that right? My last comment says Coination. Oh, I appreciate you stopping by. It's good to see you here. And I see your other one now, the Mother Inn. We are sweet like honey, but strong. That'd be one you could send out as a Mother's Day card. Bring tears to your mother's eye. Hey, Sam, how's it going? Doing all right here. I have mine set at 74 and still bundle up. I'd be melting at 74. It's funny. My mom always jokes around, speaking of like temperature and stuff. She says if your heat's not up, I'm not. She'll say I won't visit you if your heat's not on. Like my heat's on. It's just not high like you like it. Yeah, I hope all is going well with you, Jackie. I know there's a lot going on, especially with the virus over there in Europe. I know it's really bad. Well, I think I'm going to head out here soon because it's late too. And yeah, I think I'm about ready to go here soon because I need to eat something else yet today. I didn't eat a whole lot today. And I don't want to be eating like a big meal at like midnight. It's 10:42 p.m. here, Eastern Standard Time here in Tennessee, for anybody who doesn't know, not that it really matters. So I will probably be posting some content over on my other channel for anyone who isn't subscribed to it, that doesn't know about it, which probably isn't many to anyone here because there's only like 45 people in here right now. But if anybody is interested in my channel that is strictly faith-based content, I will put that in the chat if anybody here happens to not know about it. Because I'm only mentioning it because I will periodically be doing some content over there, even though I haven't posted in a while, just in case you don't see videos from me here. So if anybody needs that link, I'll put it in the chat. Actually, for anybody that watches this back, I probably should put it in the chat and then in the comments later anyway. Janine, good to see you. Thank you for the happy birthday wishes. I really appreciate it. All right, Wanda, see you. Thanks for stopping by. The Beehive Inn. That's kind of almost a play on behave too. The Beehive Inn. I'll have to listen back to this and listen to myself say all of them, all the ones in the comments and the ones I came up with, and see what has a ring to it. So like I think if I'm going to go with the inn thing, we'd have to maybe call it hotel in the beginning. Hotel indescribable. My elderly neighbor, he's 70 and had COVID. He's trying to prove a point. Made it. Happy birthday. Thank you, Jackie. I don't know if anybody saw, because I haven't been on YouTube in a while, actually, now that I think about it. I did a post on Facebook. Somebody, yeah, I'm not going to, it wasn't a close friend like I spent a lot of time with, because he didn't live around here, but there was a pastor of a church that I went to in Ohio, who I met up with last year, who I considered a good friend, passed away from the coronavirus. And it hit me pretty hard because he was only 49 years old. He had a lot of pre-existing conditions. Well, he had leukemia, and the timing was really bad. He had not only did he have like leukemia, but he had just had surgery on his foot, and he was on antibiotics. So he had like a double pneumonia, and it's kind of unclear if he was sick first and then got COVID, or it all started from that. Like, I don't know all the fine details. I'm not really concerned, to be honest. But it was a bizarre chain of events. And when he got the coronavirus, it complicated everything else, and he deteriorated so fast. He had issues where he basically went into a coma, and he never came out of it. They had to put him in a coma to because the inflammation was so bad, and they tried to resuscitate him 3 times when it first got really bad, when the virus is at its worst, and they were able to stabilize him, but he was never able to come out of the coma. So he passed away, and it hit me really hard because he was definitely someone I considered a friend. And anyway, definitely stay safe, everyone. And that's what we talked about a lot of things earlier. Like, if you're going to be out in a crowded place, I would say, to me, wear a mask out of respect for other people who may be, more vulnerable. But when it comes to your personal self, like yourself, if you're generally live isolated, or, it's not a big deal. But, generally, I do it out of respect for other people that I don't want to get sick, At least while this thing's, really serious yet, maybe a different story once the therapeutics and stuff get better, and it's not as much of an issue. But while the medical community is still playing catch up, and when there's mass waves of it, you don't want to overwhelm the medical system. So until there is some traction in getting this thing headed in the right direction, or more herd immunity, it is definitely important to keep the spread kind of on an even kiln. But unfortunately, it doesn't seem that's not happening. We're just going from crowds everywhere to lockdowns to crowds to lockdowns. It's just this bizarre cycle, especially in Europe right now, with how bad it's just the spread was just something else. All right. I think I'm going to head out here now. It is really time for me to go. I really appreciate everyone stopping by to wish me a happy birthday. Really appreciate it. And I mean that. I certainly mean that. I always like to, when I can, stop on here and do a live stream for a part of my day here and just say hey to everybody. So I don't know when my next video is going to. The puns are getting bad, but I'll get something up here soon. And I do got to get some swinging in. So maybe we'll have to do a yard detecting video. Remember, this house was built in 1959, and I'm certain I have some undisturbed soil here. So maybe I think I could get some silver here. And certainly, I'm almost certain I'll definitely get some pennies from the 60s and the 70s, hopefully some Wheaties. And I doubt this is a place that anybody's ever touched with a metal detector. This isn't the type of place you would ever door knock. Most people wouldn't door knock a neighborhood started being built in 1959, but there's stuff out here. I still never found a silver Kennedy $50, so I'm hoping there's one of those out here in the yard. That would be awesome. It's that right time period, right? Built in 59s. There have been those late Benjis and the 1964 to 1970 $50 floating around. So this would be the type of yard where I could definitely find one if they had money flowing. I hope so. And thank you, Coin Nation, for all the ideas. I'll read through them all a little bit more later. My mind's just turning off now. Everybody had a lot of good ideas there. Thank you, Jackie. All right, I'm out of here. It's been good to see everyone. Just wanted to stop in, let everybody know I'm definitely still alive, and I'll do some more on the channel in the future. I did not completely disappear for good. I am around, just not posting a lot of content right now. So I'm still here and I'm still ticking, and I hope everybody else is doing good. So stay safe and be well. And I will. Oh, that was an accidental pun. This is getting bad. See you later.